Hello, everyone. The following episode has a content and trigger warning. This episode has us playing Mothership, a sci fi horror RPG that is being ran by Cameron from the Panic Table. This episode covers a variety of horror subjects, from body horror, drug usage, gaslighting, religious cults, and many other common tropes found in horror. Our number one priority is the safety of our audience. So, without further ado, please enjoy our actual play of Mothership featuring the Panic Table.
So, Mothership, as I was saying, prides itself on being super easy to just jump into. It's nice because, like, hey, if you're like a min-max or you're just like thinking about your backstory for a long period of time, absolutely, you can do that. But it's also nifty in that they've made it really low barrier to entry to play. And one of the handiest ways you can do that is through their Mothership companion app. So, it's on mobile and other stuff here, and it's really handy. But I'll let you know up front, we are playing a version of, okay, real talk, in the Warden's Manual, which is what just comes with the Mothership box set and is how you can learn to build your own adventures and stuff. A really often overlooked adventure for Mothership is actually built into the instructions. And so as they explain how to build an adventure, there's just this idea for an adventure that kind of slaps. And so I put my own Panic Table spin on it. And we're going to be calling tonight's adventure The Sweetening Fields. And as we play this together, your main prompt is going to be that you've been hired by a C-level corpocrat to rescue their affluent daughter from what they are pretty sure is a cult on a remote planet. And so you are all going in as infiltrators, and you can decide if you know this person, what you have to do together as a team. I'm always a huge fan of, like, if you don't know each other, having a really joint cause as, from a mercantile standpoint, or just, being directly related to each other or the target is always a great thing. So understanding that this is a covert rescue mission, that'll flavor our character choices a little bit, I would say, because you're all going to go in as though you are new inductees to the Sweetening Fields Higher Learning Institute, as it is called. And so, yes, with that, you can jump on into the app, and it's got this really handy create your character prompt box, and you click begin. And so the way they do it is in a really interesting order. It starts with just rolling your stats first before you even pick what you are. Truly, the best players I've played with in Mothership outside of the Panic Table, and each of those players I love equally and separately, like children, and different but
course.
special and unique ways. Honestly, the best players I've done, like on start playing, are the ones who just roll up a character, and I like to check in as a warden and say, hey, I saw you got this loadout or these stats or the questions you have. The best players go, nope, and just throw themselves headlong in, because like Anwar was saying, when the chips are down, the chips stay down. It's great if you have high stats. It's almost less fun if you do. So you just click roll. And I would say an average stat for anything is like in the 30s. Like 20 is a little low, 40 or higher is like really, really good. And I don't even know if it's mathematically possible to get over 40. Maybe it is. But yeah, just that first one should be easy enough. So I'm just going to keep moving through the prompts here. Yeah,
for sure.
The game has two chunks of important things. You have stats, which for any TTRPG player is relatively familiar as we roll that first box of strength, speed, intellect, and combat. And Mothership is great because you don't roll a lot. These are when you need to roll under pressure for things. So, the airlock is closing and I need to make it through. Now I make a speed check. But if you're just like jogging, no check needed. No perception checks, no stuff like that. Saves is how you gauge your character being able to withstand the horror, the vicissitudes of the galaxy. So in Mothership, those are sanity, fear, and body. And I like to unpack these. These will be a little lower as you roll them. Like 17-ish is kind of average for these, and they get bumped a little bit as you pick classes and stuff. Everybody's got different perks for different character classes. But sanity, which in the Panic Table, for a number of reasons, we called composure, also to add a fun social element. But sanity is how your character interacts with items or experiences or events that they cannot make compatible with their worldview. Whether that's just seeing a hideous piece of eldritch text or literally being undone by an alien god and anything in between. Just with when 2 + 2 = 5, no matter how hard you're trying to make it 4, you would make a sanity save. Etc. Fear is just, something popped out of the bushes. It's scary. It's got tentacles and noodles, and it's the worst. And so fear, very obvious. And then body is often what happens if you fail other saves, but it's also like, oh, you've ingested poison, or let's see how, yeah, you got shot. Let's see how shot you got, if we want to like break it down like that. But body is very just anything having to do with all of that. The nice thing about Mothership is you can kind of ambiguate those things. They're hazy on purpose, and I find the most fun I have at tables is when people really just let it ride with what those can mean, and the table finds a nice agreement across those. So now we select our classes. There are 4 core classes in Mothership, and I would say probably the biggest challenge to getting started in Mothership is not thinking too much inside a box. Like, yes, we've all seen Aliens, and that's definitely where the core inspiration came from, because you can be a Marine, an android, a Union Teamster, or a scientist at its core. And I think a better way to think about it is when you want to be in an urgent situation, do you want to be, A, probably really good at killing things? That's gonna be a Marine. You don't necessarily have to literally be a Marine, but it's sort of a Marine skill set. But Marines are excellent at firearms, and when I say excellent, I mean closer to a 50% chance of success than the normal, like, 30% percent. Why am I having trouble saying percent? Closer to a 50% chance of success instead of the normal 30% chance of success. Androids are... Oh, I'm going to do androids last, actually. Scientists, I will say, are, in my opinion, the least understood character class. Because, yes, it can literally be a scientist, as in, yes, Will Robinson, I'm not here to kill your family kind of a person. But it can also be just somebody who's the best at what they're at. Scientists start with a mastery in something. So if that means you could be an aeronautical engineer, or a decorated military person, or an unaffiliated weirdo, or a priest, or an artist, or anything. If you want to be really, really good at something, be a scientist, I would say. It's also giving you like get out of jail free card to go balls to the walls after that solve part of the story. If you're like, oh, I'm going to get to the bottom of what is making these people grow noodly tentacles. Fantastic. We love that. Scientist is fantastic. Teamsters. This is... Anwar said it best. It's like Mario. When you want to play like close to the center and be like really good at a lot of things and maybe not master of any one, but Teamsters get stuff done. So they have the most, I would say, well-rounded stats is that, but also you're basically playing Ripley, right? Like, no, you're not a Marine. Can you use a flamethrower? Sure, if you got to. No, you don't have an authorization to fix airplanes. Do you have some duct tape? Give it a shot. Teamsters are great for just being generally useful, I would find. And so again, like, to me, the challenge is, how do you want to flavor that? What do you want to be? Do you want to be a decorated air conditioner repair person? Or do you want to be a pilot, delivery person, a forklift loader, all sorts of things? My favorite Teamster example I've seen, someone was like, I'm a private chef. And so they were like amazing with knife work, which was really fantastic when a goblin popped out of the vents. So lastly, androids are... just what a delight to be an android. There's not a limitation on what kind of android you can be in Mothership, but generally they are not people. So you're looking at the base material of whether it's Ash or Bishop or David from the Aliens franchise, but beyond that, they can do things people can't. So if you're on a planet where the oxygen is not available, for, like, let's say you're like on the moon, an android doesn't need a vac suit to go outside. An android can crawl through 20 miles of tunnel and be a lot more equipped to deal with that emotionally than a human can. And so there's ups and downs to it. The downside being that you weird everyone out most of the time and you're not comforting to be around. So, well, all of these have like fun trauma responses or downsides, but that's the kind of core idea of what you want to be with an android. I was talking with... I was gonna say DJ, but no, I wasn't talking with DJ.
No, that
Andrew.
was me.
Yeah. DJ, you were having your teeth pulled out at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, androids, it's fun because I like to, do you want to be Tars from Interstellar? Great. You brought up what's the name of the box bot
Gertie.
from Moon? Gertie.
Yeah, Gertie. Yeah.
Yeah, so I hate limiting players because it's really fun. I did a game on StartPlaying.games with someone who's like, I'm literally a Boston Dynamics robo-dog, but I have the personality of a human. And so, sky's the limit. Anyway,
That's
that's
great.
androids. Let's, who wants to be what?
I was as you said, I was thinking android, and more along the lines of probably like just an orb, like an awkward kind of egg-shaped orb thing that
Yeah,
would just float around, just orbing around.
kind of like an even less anthropomorphic Eva from Wall-E.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's like that would probably be the hardest part of connection is there isn't like much to look at. You're like, which side are you? Kind of thing would be the experience with it, but like I can use whatever side I need to probably of the orb.
absolutely. Now, is this just as we plunge into things? Do you think for like a covert rescue mission, is this something where like entering a cult, they're not super friendly to outside? Like I would say this is probably not even
I
like an android
I
friendly environment.
probably like belong to somebody,
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah. I absolutely love that. What are the rest of us thinking?
I'll do a scientist, and Andrew will belong to me.
Oh, great.
Everything is as it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll work.
Nice, nice. Do you have any like flavor in mind?
Um, ooh,
And it's
that's a
okay if
good
you don't right
question.
now. It comes like
Yeah, 'cause
there's a little
like
more to do. So
analytics. Just
Oh,
like just analytics person, the engineer type, I think is what my scientist is.
rad, awesome.
I got tired of
Okay, Anwar.
being the wimpy one during our entire thing, so I'm going Marine. I'm not. No more Eddie silliness here. I did like the randomized character image, and I got this dude that has like half his head covered with his hair, and I'm kind of just like imagining, like you lift it up, and it's like a scratch, and like the eye is all white from like some weird shit he's
Nice.
seen
Awesome.
in the past.
So you're
So
like
yeah.
a grizzled veteran.
Yeah, let's go with that. No teenager
Rad.
either this time.
Silviana, how about you?
I will play the Teamster, and I'm gonna be the girl's mom.
Always the Teamster. Yeah,
That
excellent.
was the one I was thinking about at first because I was like, man, I really love unions. And then you explained it. I was like, oh, being in a union probably doesn't really matter for this.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. No, we don't have time to talk about it. There's a panic table conversation about unions that we'll leave out. So as you select your character on the companion app, then it'll pop up and some of them have caveats like choose stats to augment and stats to nerf a little bit. So once you choose those, let me know if you have any questions. But
I will say, I think I rolled stupidly well accidentally.
incredible.
It's like 38, 39. After I increase my intellect, it's 47 and then 32.
Oh wow, yeah, that's not bad. I would say that's slightly above average.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's really good. And then you roll your health. In Mothership, it's sometimes a little confusing. So, the major footnote here, and I'm a guy who, unless you really care about it, for me, sometimes things just deal in narrative wounds as opposed to the minutia of HP. So it kind of depends on what's going on. And Mothership sometimes calls for like, oh, doesn't matter what your health is. Like a spaceship landed on you, you're wounded.
yeah.
But wounds are how you track your aliveness-nitude, as it is called. But so Teamsters and scientists have 2 wounds. Androids and Marines, who are made of tougher stuff, have 3. And then your HP pool is just per wound. So let's say you're wounded, or rather, let's say you have 17 health, it gets dropped down to 0. We would then do a wound check to see what kind of wound you've endured, and then your health would go back up to full for the next wound. And then if you've got 3 wounds, you get to enjoy that 3 times unless one of the wounds you have is fatal. Mothership is extremely lethal. So, any questions about that?
I think I'm good
Yeah.
on most of these steps. The app is wonderful.
Yeah, it's really great. Your stress starts at 2 because it's just a scary place to be. I would say the most important thing about the app is the trauma response. And truly at the core of how this game works, it really sparkles when you involve how people stress out. So that's the trauma response. Does everybody have access to their trauma response? Because I think it'd be useful for everyone to just read out what their character's trauma response is.
Yep. I've got
oh.
the android's trauma response, which is fear saves made by close friendly players are at disadvantage.
You're weird to be around.
Sorry.
And if I fail a sanity roll, everybody around me takes stress. Which
Whenever
really is just on the nose for me as a person in general. So I'm into it.
yeah, whenever I panic, every close friendly player must make a fear save.
Oh. Yeah, because if you're panicking, we all should
Yeah,
be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shitting your pants.
Yeah.
Teamster has the only good one. Once per session, I can take advantage on a panic check.
Oh.
And that still failed me so many times during the show.
It did.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. I get an advantage. Oh.
Yeah, and then after that, Mothership has a cool system where there's patches and trinkets and things. These don't have inherent value, but if you want to like build a quick backstory, your patch can say, like mine that I rolled for this random character says #1 worker, and you can just allow that to inform your process or not, take it or leave it. And then for our purposes, the loadout will not be supremely important right up front, just as a little disclaimer, but it's handy because there's 10 different possible loadouts that are just pre-gen for each character, so you can dive right in as well. Yeah, so I think it would be, oh, hey, Anwar, I think I got the same like freaky guy you did. Is it this one? Is that hard to see?
I can't
Yes.
see it.
Dang it. Never mind. I won't try that.
DJ,
Yeah?
what are you gonna be good at in your sciencey ways, and how am I useful to you? That's what I'm trying to think about right now.
So that's a good question.
Oh.
Because I'm in the bonus skills
trained
section.
skills. Yeah. So I'm thinking computers hacking / artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And then as like the other one,
Oh, I'm definitely doing 0G because I'm a floating orb.
makes sense. I'm gonna do linguistics for my lat. Well, no, yeah, yes.
And
That'll
you
be
are
useful.
headed to a farm, if that's helpful.
Oh yeah, got to learn how to speak farm. So,
Mm-hmm.
allow me to re-choose.
And if it's any
Farm, huh?
comfort, like skills are cool. Like definitely pick things that matter to you, but don't agonize it over. I guarantee you, like
Mhm.
those 5 to 10 points rarely matter. Now,
Yep.
if you're a scientist, I take all of that back. Actually, DJ, like it does kind of matter for you because you're the smart one.
I am the smart one. I'm gonna go with theology. It's a cult. That just sounds fun.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that'll allow my robot here to be useful. Let's go with. Man, I wish just anthropology would be a good one, but that's just so broad.
It is.
I took field medicine because I'm a mom, so I know how to kiss a boo-boo and make it better.
That makes sense.
And
Like a
that
bleeding-
actually probably speaks to why you would be accepted in this cult. Like, they need more moms in the cult.
They probably do.
They
need
probably
moms.
need more moms.
Or they might have too many moms. I don't know what type of cult this is.
That's fair. It might be a mom cult.
A lot of cults, it's like one dude and all moms.
Why
Oh,
is
nice.
that?
One
lot
of
of
I don't think we
mummies.
have time to unpack that one.
one of my my items is a patch that just says "fuck off" in Russian. The scientist. I'm gonna re-roll that one. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think I need a calendar of alien pinup art as much as unless that's yours, DJ.
That's
that-
I
I
actually that
might-
was my second
You
roll.
might keep that in the orb just in case,
Yeah.
Right.
And well, you wanna die with a smile on your face, and so you just open up the orb and you go, look at that.
How about that? How about that sexy xenomorph?
Sorry. Well, I'm just like sitting there thinking, like, what on? But no, you know what? Because it's like Alien, that actually does make sense. Is this stupid pinup calendar? Like, I could 100% see a character in the movie just being like, "Well, I'm about to die." Opens his locker, looks at it, turns to face the xenomorph, and he dies.
Exactly. Yeah, once people are feeling good, and I think it's totally appropriate to kind of get settled into your character because we all play games here. No one wants to just cold turkey things. It's nice to look at your picture and figure out what makes you you. So y'all just let me know when you're ready, and I think it might be helpful to just go around and talk about who each of you are and a
Yeah.
little bit of context before we dive in.
Cameron, what's the name of the girl we're trying to find
Yes.
and her dad who works for the company?
Right, yes, you are the mother of Melissa Osgood,
Okay.
which would make you somebody. I mean, what's your last name? You tell me.
It can be Osgood. Unless, is it helpful for you if I and her father have been estranged for many years? Or is it more helpful if we're in a relationship?
I am open to either. It would make sense that you're part of this mission, and why they would let you in the first place is if you were here. Like, it's very natural for family members to be drawn in, right, to something. So, I can see it either way. I'm flexible is my long answer. So, it's truly what
Do
you
you,
prefer.
if you would, I think if it's easier for you that the daughter and I have the same last name and that I go in being like, I'm her mom.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Here,
Or
let's
does that mess things up for you? Because I could pretend to not be her mom.
No mess. I was counting on you always taking the family aspect. So let's play it this way though, because you're just as bendy as I am when it comes to role playing. I think we should cut that out
Yes.
immediately. The I think that you are estranged. That Daddy has bankrolled this entire mission and then called you at 2 a.m. and was like, "You're the
Yeah.
only shot in here." Like, she's already cut me off.
Or like I found out and was like, I'm going on this mission.
Yeah, I love that.
You literally cannot stop me.
Right. And so he's like, "Great, I've put together a crack team of an egg and 2 weirdos." So,
Yeah. So it's an undercover mission. So I'm gonna pretend we don't have the same last name, and I'm gonna pretend that I'm not her mom.
great. Yeah, and you've been estranged for some time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, totally up to you how you play it, but her name is Melissa. I made up Osgood.
But you didn't make up Melissa?
What? No, Melissa's already written on my little map here.
I'm pretty much set on my character.
Yep.
Character name is Locke, Locke. And pronouns they them. They're an orb. You know, orb life.
Hashtag orb life.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of a omni-purpose droid, kind of like I can help out with anything. But the idea of Locke and it's more of like a brand name thing, like Locke being like the company that I was created by, and
You're like a Ring doorbell.
yeah, I'm like yeah, exactly. Like I'm a Ring doorbell, somewhere between that and like a Roomba, but rather than just like cleaning up the room, I kind of like help you with whatever random thing you might need help with.
Awesome. So you're like a contingency item. Someone's like, you know what? And just to like add even further efficacy to the mission, we're sending you with this multi-purpose droid. Great.
Yep.
I love that. So we've got Locke the android orb.
I am Hurley Cotton, he/him scientist,
Great
About-
name.
mid-30s. That's about it. That's me.
Theologian.
Theologian, yes, because you need somebody who's going to negotiate if need be, or figure out what the cult's up to.
Yeah. So you got pulled onto this because of your pedigree.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And Locke,
I-
you just come standard with every mission.
Yeah, pretty much.
Great.
My guy's name's Tommy. He, him. Former actual Marine, retired now, but has a serious gambling problem. So he's been hired by the Osgoods to, save this child from a cult. Skills. I went ahead and did everything we could in case shit hits the fan and we have to kill some cult leaders. Got firearms, military training, athletics. My dude comes with a pulse rifle, so yeah, doing the exact opposite of what we did in the last.
Gotta love a
So,
reactionary character build.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anwar builds characters out of previous trauma.
Yeah.
So
Fun fact: my patch is a meat bag.
oh, that's
Um,
great.
so, and my trinket, not my patch. So I might be using that at some point today.
Like a bag of meat? Is that
It says meat bag, and I'm running with it.
10,000%? Yeah. You got a bag of
You need
meat.
your protein. Protein's really important,
Yeah.
especially when you're out in the field.
Yeah.
Uh,
Instead of
Doesn't say
bringing
cooked.
rations,
Yeah.
he just has a meat bag. It's like I have
He's
the food.
he's really into smoking his meat,
He's-
and so like he's always ready to go.
on that really weird raw meat diet.
Yep.
Awesome.
Hey,
Um,
Locke, how big are you?
That's a good question. I've kind of been playing with that in my head. I want to be slightly cumbersome.
So like
Like,
trash can
whatever-
sized.
Like, yeah, like a little bit too big to be
A Mr.
convenient.
Handy.
Yeah, so it's like you probably like you can't get your fingers to touch if you were to give me a hug. You probably wouldn't, but just
Oh,
a
that's
little
great.
bit too big.
Just
Do you-
wastes
yeah,
so
what
much
do you look
energy
like?
floating there.
Do you have like an interface?
Yeah, there's probably like a couple though. Like there's a
Okay.
couple black kind of like half dome little spots on the orb, and that's kind of that leads to like the depersonalization of
Amazing.
like where do I look like kind of moment. And yeah, there's all little like panel lines and little doors like where like if I'm having a conversation with somebody and I need to do something, like a random door over there will open and something will come out, and they're
Hatches.
like, oh, I didn't know that was there.
Like a vending
Huh.
machine.
Whoa, you have a door there.
Oh, a whisk. How handy.
Yeah, I'm a Dalek.
Perfect. Wow. Okay. So anything we haven't covered about our characters yet? Any questions, accusations before we jump
yes.
in? Yeah.
Well, I haven't introduced my character.
Oh, Sylviana, I'm so sorry. I so frequently take you for granted. Full stop of sentence.
I am playing Gemma Palermo, she, her. I'm a Teamster. I'm 49 years old. I am the mother of Melissa Osgood, but I have been estranged from her father for 15 years. I don't know how old Melissa is, but I assume she's like 18.
Yeah. She's in her like
Old is
early
she?
20s.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So the age that I picked is actually feasible.
Yeah.
Um,
You said Gemma or Jenna
Gemma,
Wi-
Gemma Palermo.
with M for mayonnaise?
Yes,
Okay.
M for mayonnaise.
As that's
With
the
a name
common
like
identifier.
Gemma
Yeah.
Palermo. I eat a lot of mayonnaise.
Sorry. Back to you.
I'm not in the mob. I I have shockingly good stats, but it's fine because I'm a mom and moms are good at everything.
Yep.
Unlike Melissa's corporate shill of a father, I live on a commune where I practice animal midwifery. So I am trained in zoology and field medicine.
I love
as well
that.
as industrial equipment and 0G.
That's amazing.
It's great. I hope
Could I
that all
deliver
comes
a
into
human
play.
baby? Sure,
It's all the
probably.
same.
I'll figure it
You
out.
grab
I'm
the
a mom.
legs first, right? And just kind of yank.
One just
Hopefully the head
screams
comes out
more.
first.
How hard could it be to deliver a baby, honestly? It's got to be
Yeah.
like falling off a log.
It
I
can't be
see
harder
people
than
do
delivering
it
a
in
calf.
every show, every movie. Me and my wife were talking about this. It happens all the time. It's got to be easy.
Gotta be.
Maybe we'll find out in this session.
Please no. Jokes aside,
Incredible.
that's the only thing on my consent form that I read.
Oh
Is
yeah,
childbirth.
yeah. We'll steer around that. So only live calf
Animal
births.
Yeah,
Yeah.
calves are fine. We're good.
Animal childbirth is okay.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, I picked.
No,
I picked
it's
your one
that's
red line.
hilarious. That's all. I'm good.
Yeah, this is a cesarean centric adventure. So, as a fun last sub note for you, Locke, you are the arbiter of how human or inhuman you are as far as your ability to interact with others, and you seem like you played an RPG or two before, so I'm not too worried about it. Gemma,
Yeah.
the call came late last night, or for you, perhaps more pertinently, early this morning. In fact, just a few hours ago, as you and your ne'er-do-well one-time paramour, now adversarial ex-partner, Magnus Osgood of the BioSuite
What a
company.
douchey name.
Magnus. When he was 22, it went with the haircut and everything made a little more sense back in those halcyon days of youth. But all of that's behind you now, as here, approaching a stalwart middle age, you have been informed that Melissa, perhaps the only good thing to come out of that entire relationship, has been found. You know, just from the rumor mill, that your daughter has been missing for some time, and she's had a checkered past, as we know. Self-discovery is filled with pitfalls, and Melissa is no exception from that. And so your thoughts and prayers have been with her for a few decades, but that's about it, because you've been doing your own thing out there delivering calves in a field.
And some foals and a couple of goat kids, not to be confused with human kids.
Those are fine.
Magnus's yeah. Magnus's access and company black card were more than sufficient to get the shuttle to your homestead, then to the starbase, then to the warp gate, and then to the interstellar bus stop in time for you to meet an unlikely group of companions, all of whom have been assigned with the singular mission of infiltrate what has become known as a community called the Sweetening Fields, to find Melissa Osgood and to return with her intact. You all know, as you've been gathered and briefed. So for you, Gemma, I would say the real reward is that you're going to get out of this with maybe a family bond repaired and a lot of sins answered for. And maybe, if you want, you can start being the mom that you had wished you were earlier, but it's up to you. I'm not here to cast aspersions on your parenting choices. You've been around cows this whole time.
My choices. It was my terrible ex-husband who wouldn't let me see my daughter. Come on, how can you blame me?
And so you threw on your coveralls and took the next shuttle out. As you meet these unlikely weirdos and their shockingly unwieldy android companion here at the last ship out. All of you have been briefed on the mission. You are headed to a remote planet on the rim of the verse that was once one of the proprietary planets of the well-known company BioSuite, which, as we know, after the Union uprisings, crumbled under the weight of the imbalance of the workers who were tired of the toxic atmosphere and the low pay and decided to claim the individual farmsteads on the planet for themselves and control the means of production and eliminate the bigger company. And the violence that followed, unspeakable. In that time, these planets have become homesteads for... I've said homesteads like 5 times already. In that time, these planets have become safe havens and shelters for the industrious, those who would seek to arrange things their own way, or for people who would just like to find a way to make perhaps some sort of agricultural profit while living way under the radar of known society. You meet the theologian, the clunky advisor robot, and the marine that have been assigned to the case with you, and all of you are gathered at what is essentially an interstellar bus stop. The morning consisted of being loaded into a shuttle unceremoniously with a bunch of flowered children, 8 of them, ranging from like teens to mid-20s, and the lot of you sped off into the dark, first from one transport onto a semi-abandoned space station, from a semi-abandoned space station onto an autonomous drone that makes regular supply runs down to the BioSuite planet, which is just called BioSuite 24678, as it heads to the compound, each of these being commandeered now by the individual entities that have claimed the farmsteads. It is an odd affair as the autonomous transport drone lowers into the hazy horizon of the planet. The smoky texture of the clouds, you realize, isn't some sort of industrial accident, but that the planet itself is awash with purple pearlescent clouds and musty air that if you even through the shelter of the drone, you can feel outside. There's a tactile nature to the atmosphere that sifts through the scrubbers that have been tainted by pollutants from the previous industrial experiments here, and that thickness is palpable to the tongues and or tasting sensors of the robots within this thing. Locke, you are alone in your synthetic comport. You're the only artificial being amongst a bunch of really energetic humans and then three curmudgeonly looking adults. Uh, all of you are packed in quite tightly, standing room only, holding onto drop bars, except for the floating egg-like robot, and standing among the faithful when a small bit of turbulence hits. I want to just give you a moment here to kind of like be yourselves before we plunge into this thing.
You all appear to
Hurley
be
is-
shaking around me.
You don't have to point it out. You see as Hurley shakily takes out a pack of gum, blister pack, pops it out, chews it, puts it back. Lots of gum in his pocket.
You sure have a lot of gum in your pocket, dude.
He cuts down on the cravings.
Okay, cool. Yeah, anybody else creeped out by how much these kids are smiling? Because I'm freaked out. They look weird.
I've been smiling the whole time.
I think it's kind of going to be our job to smile like that once we get off this transport.
Okay, all right, smile.
Do you think
No,
that they
do
are?
it, like more natural. Can you make it look like you're happy to be here? No, like can you do it in your eyes too?
Oh.
No.
You
too
appear
much,
to
too
be
much, too
distressed.
much.
Listen,
You know what? Why don't we just go with like a neutral
Oh.
expression?
there we go.
Yeah, that's great.
Good,
That's
good. Yep.
really, you look really natural.
Good.
As you walk through remembering how to be a human, Tommy, the nearest flower child, a strikingly beautiful androgynous sort, lays their gossamer fingers. This is a person who has never known work, and from the looks of the people in this dropship with you, uh, it looks like a lot of idealistic youths that come from privilege or university backgrounds, all of them wearing brightly colored robes and beautiful blown out hairdos. But one of them lays their hand on your shoulder and places another one gently, very gently on the butt of the pulse rifle that you're cradling and says, "What an exciting adventure we'll be taking together, brother, yes?
Yes.
I am as thrilled as you to beat this sword into a plowshare for a better tomorrow."
What? Plow a sword
That's
into
not a
what?
sword.
It's a symbol of peace, Tommy. It's about taking our animosity and anger from deep within ourselves and instead laying it bare for all to see and really forming it into something that is more useful and just something that helps the community. Yeah, and
I think it's about hammering a scythe onto the end so you can help with harvest season.
that's
Can you
that's what
tell
I
them
said,
in
yes.
farm language to get their hand off of me?
Tommy has personal space issues. His bubble is very sacred to him, but he fine. Don't worry.
The
It's-
light that
it's
shines
grow.
within me is the light that shines within you, and if they must refract before they can rejoin, that is a choice I can respect. My name's Iris. I'm just so excited to be among the initiated with you. Bless you. And Iris steps back into the group of these chosen initiates as the drone descends. You break through the clouds outside of the small viewing ports here in this autonomous drone dropship, and you can see miles and miles in every direction, waving fields of golden grain just as far as the eye can see in every direction. It is Iowa at a scale you have never beheld before. The notable difference being the pearlescent atmosphere that gives everything the oddest little shimmer. Where would we be without the word iridescence playing Mothership? Am I right, Sylviana? That's just part of what we do here. But you can make out the wind blowing what appears to be innumerable varieties of crops: barley, wheat, space wheat, space barley, all four. And so the ship descends, and below you can see what appears to be the remains of formerly an industrial complex. There's a few things of note, but even from here, it looks like a few things have happened as you descend. Right below you is the very obviously lit drone launch pad that you are descending as the sort of propellers that are on the side of the ship engage and the thruster rockets cut off once you start to hover and reach a velocity that is no longer terminal, descending with a jolt as each of you get rocked and some of you knock
I just
into...
like bump in. Yeah, I bump into the glass, just like kind of orbing about.
Oh yeah, orbing about. Go ahead and make a body save for me. That'll be our
Oh,
first roll
great.
of the thing. Yeah,
Great.
you're an orb. Everyone else has these handholds as you thonk.
Crush
Yeah.
some poor
Okay, so I'm trying to roll
disillusioned child.
percentile higher than the number or under the number.
Great
I'm
question.
assuming under.
Yeah, Mothership is simple. Almost every single roll, you're just trying to roll under the score of what you're doing
Okay.
here. And here you're just
Alright.
rolling to avoid giving a little hull damage.
Yeah,
this-
it's
Also-
reminiscent of some Cthulhu we played recently here.
Just a little cheap shot right up front to poke you right in your LED display.
Yep.
So it looks
I
like
so
you have
my
die.
Yes.
But the companion app also has it right there for you if you want to roll with your stats and advantage and all that.
Again, we're not
Alright,
being paid by
that's good to
Mothership,
know.
but
Not a sponsor.
Well, I mean, I'll take that as a reroll, sure. No, I rolled the 29, which is 6 higher than my body.
awesome. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'm using some analog die over here too. You take 4 damage as you
Nice.
already just clang into the steely wall of the drone, and you descend. You can tell just from the group that everyone's a little that everyone outside of your group is curious why a drone is among us in the first place. So that's just part of things. You descend and you see the drone field. There's an observation tower just adjacent to this landing area that looks like it's of some import. And then there seem to be fields kind of circling a large, more cleared area in which a very large train depot seems to have seen better days on the edge of this encampment. And by better days, I mean there's a gaping hole in one side of it, some remnant from an uprising that doesn't seem to be fresh now, but a sinkhole on one side of it that slips out of view as you go from thousands of feet up to 8 stories up to 7 stories. You're coming down, you see that somebody has parked a pristine corporate transport shuttle on the grounds and the grass, and that the vegetation has started to grow up around it, a la trailer park, that somebody has converted a fancy shuttle into what looks like maybe some sort of bunkhouse or something in the distance. There are other buildings and things, but it's a hodgepodge of hand-built structures made out of like local woods and debris, as well as just refabricated items from other farming implements and repurposed stuff as you descend. The last thing you glimpse as the shuttle comes to a landing is the steeple of a modest, but even at this distance, quite obvious church. Looks like, just in a very Southern Baptist tradition. Simple angles, obvious T shape, just in the middle of that clearing as you land, and everything that you are seeing is obfuscated now by this control tower. The door hisses down out of the drone, and you are all shuttled unceremoniously into an airlock. All of you are packed in like sardines with these smiling faithful, and there are 2 attendants there, young women that look a lot like the faithful. Their hair is shorn close to their heads, and they are wearing tunics and these funny respirators that look gosh, the thing you would probably put it closest to is like elephants or some sort of like funny little trunk. These these custom respirators that have tubes that slink off and away from the nozzle, but their eyes shine as they distribute similar models to all of the humans here in the group, uh, explaining that specifically BioSuite had tainted this part of the world with an experimental growth hormone. And so while you could breathe in the atmosphere out here, it has side effects that they have found to be largely untoward, so it's not very safe to proceed just in the open air for long periods of time.
This is why organic farming is so important.
Amen, says Iris from the group, and everyone sort of laughs along with you. The mood changes abruptly as once everybody has their respirators on, the air starts to
I
flow.
just close my vents.
Yeah. Your scrubbers.
Yeah.
Go on. I'm going to have the human characters, all three of you, make a sanity save for me.
So how do I do that in the app?
In the app, you should be able to just click I think it's the dice at the bottom.
Yeah, the dice at the bottom,
Okay.
and then
And then-
save. You'll see the 3 different
Oh,
options.
okay.
Oh,
Yep, I
that's
see.
so
and then
cool.
sanity. This is
Yeah.
great.
And here's the thing, like, this is a very open-ended game, so if you're like, look, like, not only does, like, am I making a sanity save, my theology would apply in this way. Pitch me on stuff. I'm not here to keep you from having
right,
fun.
well-
No, yeah, no, you're good. You're good. It's just funny because like my sanity's pretty high, and yet I failed. So I got a 56, which is 5 higher than my sanity.
Oh,
Now,
Welcome to
Quick
Mothership.
mothership question before you resolve that.
welcome to
on-
Mothership.
On failure,
Yeah.
are there magnitudes of failure? Are there like multiple failure states, like failing forward, like failing with consequence, failing with major consequence, something like that?
Andrew, what an exquisite question you've asked. Yes, Mothership is very since to play Mothership is to fail. there's no succeeding. Even when you're winning, you're losing is what we like to
Yeah.
say at the panic table. And yes, so anything under your save is or your stat is a success, right? If you roll doubles, whether that's an 11, a 22, a 33, and it's within your threshold, that's a critical success. So not only
Oh.
is it a win, it's a win that is really fortuitous for you. And the way I like, there's not a set way to play. So a lot of times I just like to throw the ball to you and say, hey, what's a twist that really shakes this up for us in your favor? And I'm very much a fan of having all of our hands on the planchette as we decide where the story is going. But yes, so doubles are critical successes, or if they're over your score, critical failures. And so for me,
Oh.
the worst thing happens. What
Great.
I try to do, and it's easy to revert back to more 5e type thinking, but like I'm not interested in, oh, you failed, you miss, unless the story is calling for that.
Sorry,
make or
door's
break moment.
locked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So failure is almost always, oh, Anwar's least favorite kind of failure is when I just say it works and we move on from there because so
I'd like
many
to remind
times.
everyone to take a stress for my trauma response.
Oh,
as
thanks.
I'm getting pretty nervous, and I say, swallowed my gum, and I got the respirator on, and just a little bit of a shaking left hand.
I love that. Excellent picture. And the app automatically applies stress every time you fail a roll. So if you're not using the app and you fail, you just generally add 1 stress unless the situation calls for, I don't know,
So
more.
maximum stress is set at 2 right now for all of us, correct?
Your minimum
Minimum.
stress. And yeah, your current
Oh,
stress
I-
should also be 2. But right now, if
Got
you
it.
failed, then it's up 1. And you already failed your
Got it.
body save, so it should already be up another 1 already,
Yep.
Andrew.
Gotcha. Wonderful.
Very
Love
stressful
that
robot.
scientist trauma response catch. How'd everybody else do?
Also fail.
I got a critical success. I rolled an 11.
Sylviana, I'm
Moving
going to
on
let
to
you
my
know
show.
what happens to them, and then you can tell me what happens to you. How does that sound?
Okay.
Okay, so Tommy and Hurley both of you strap on the ungainly respirators as you follow the, frankly, quite aesthetically pleasing group of initiates out of the drone and into this pressurized airlock. And as you do, the feelings of apprehension begin to melt away. And though you can't put a finger on it, you are now feeling slightly more compliant than you were a moment ago. And so as you move forward, I would encourage you to make decisions that might not be in your favor, as you are just slightly more pliable with suggestions as you fail that sanity save. Sylviana, you see your companions who were before white-knuckling their items, chewing gum and or rifles, suddenly relax as they fall in line behind the group of the faithful here. What does a critical success look like for you?
So, am I correct in thinking that when we put these masks on, that it pumped some kind of gaseous drug into our system?
It's probably not just oxygen, that's for dang sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, joke's on them because I've done every drug known to man, and I've
Kind of
built
sewer.
up a small tolerance to a lot of them. And, I live on a commune, like, I work on a farm. Any drugs that are readily available on a farm, like, I know it. I've done it.
And you
So
probably
this
should.
shit is not gonna. And yeah, well, you know what? I have to because I need to have a good understanding of what could happen to the animals.
You got to
on the
know what
farm?
horse tranquilizer feels like if you're going to use it on a horse.
Yes.
Veterinary School 101.
And whatever plants happen to be growing, I gotta try them out. If there are any weird mushrooms, like, somebody has to see what kind of psychotropic effects the mushrooms have. So, yeah, so this shit is not gonna affect me.
Incredible. And in fact, I would say on a critical success, in addition to that, Gemma, you have the option of noticing both the intended effect and the
Yeah.
luxury of playing along or not. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's actually like a specific taste that this one
Taste the
has,
purple.
and I know this. It tastes purple. And so I
Mhm.
recognize this drug, so I know exactly how I need to act to mimic it because I've done it like a lot.
This is actually just
Asking
my
for a
Grimace Shake
friend.
adventure.
Oh my
Say
god.
what?
I was saying, asking for a friend. Would you also happen to know how to counteract the effects of it?
Critical
Uh,
success.
I think I would, but I probably I wouldn't have like an antidote on me,
Yeah.
but I think I would know what would go into one.
Yeah, I would say on this critical success, all these things are true, and you know what psychotropics are being used automatically, and what could help you come down from something like this if you need it. Great question, Anwar. Yeah, but Anwar, you feel your grip on your pulse rifle relax as you breathe in, and in the back of your mind, a voice that isn't quite your own says, "Things are going to be okay here. I'm going to fit in." As you, and yeah, it feels right, kind of. I don't know, and you fall in line just a little bit as the airlock pressurizes. And then on the other side, you are ushered through a small hallway into the lowest level of that observation center. And for lack of a better comparison, it's sort of like a modest lighthouse. It has a similar structure where there's a low, homey sort of building at the base that leads up to more complex stuff you imagine upstairs. And you are ushered by these believers into a slightly larger room where, blessedly, everybody can spread out a little bit. And awaiting you on either side of the only other door out of this place are two very serious-looking guards. In addition to the respirator, they're wearing sort of a generic beige paramilitary uniform that you can see, and both of them are holding essentially cattle prods and wearing thick visors. And that's not something that you planned on seeing as you step and or float into the room among the faithful. Everybody quiets down as a general sense of anticipation fills the room, and I would love to just check in here in this moment as this adventure begins. What's going through everybody's head? What just here on the introduction to this thing is everybody thinking they're gonna try to do in this unknown situation? You get the sense
Hurley,
that you're about to be like not inoculated. What's the word I'm looking for here?
We
Matriculated?
were already inoculated.
Yeah, you were already
Oh.
inoculated. Integrated into this community. So
Hurley is thinking, man, I don't feel super anxious right now. What were we here for? Oh, that's right. Cult.
To join
Cool.
the cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. A scientist guy.
Oh, yeah.
Do those guards look weird to you? Or is it just me?
Creamy beige is kind of a weird color. A bit
Right?
gauche.
Right? I think more like a dark
Uh.
green is suitable. The beige is a little off.
Ah, I agree.
Yeah.
You all are acting slightly odd.
Oh,
Shut up, robot.
silly.
Speaking
baby.
module
My
off.
anxiety,
Oh,
my
wow.
anxiety is like up here,
yeah.
and like my fear is really high because I'm not on the happy drugs, and these are like armed guards, and everybody is being real fucking chill, and this is not a chill situation. So I'm trying my best, but I'm like already at a 9 out of 10.
Incredible. As you absorb the scenario in front of you, I want to check in with our android friend here because the guards spot you trying to act natural and superhuman at the end of the, the line floating in. And immediately one of those at the threshold begins to walk towards you. What's going through your robo mind?
I tried to clock pretty much anything that they might have on them that could interface with me or cause any problems. You know, if it's like any data pads that can scan or, acquire information from me that I would otherwise keep obfuscated. So that'd be the main, like, number one thing. Are they just
Sure.
muscle, or are they going to be able to figure out, essentially read my digital mind? Is that even remotely on the table? Is the first concern.
No check necessary. You are
Mhm.
sophisticated enough to analyze a room for these kinds of threats. And as far as you can tell, the most threatening thing is the zap sticks they're holding. Just cattle prods are bad enough, but they don't seem to be. In fact, this room, other than the base components of an airlock and these respirators, tech free as far as you can see.
Mm.
You do notice.
So are they directly approaching me, or is it more just they have taken notice of me?
You are being directly approached, and as they walk
Okay.
up to you, you also just for funsies. Mothership doesn't have like perception checks or that kind of stuff. It's more of just an inquiry based type thing. I'll try and unpack what's happening for y'all, and then let it sort of just ride, and you can ask as much or as little as you'd like to about anything. I will never, I promise, be like, "Gotcha! It was a spike trap, and now you're dead." I think anyway. Let's find out together. But the
I hope that happens.
yeah. So you fall in a spike trap and you die, Locke.
Oh, man.
Dang it. But Locke, you notice as the guard is walking that there's something wrong with their gait. You don't have time to really dwell on this as through the respirator, the guard says into some kind of rudimentary comm system, "We've got a plastinate here." And then he listens for some kind of response, and then the guard says 10-4, and he mutters to one of the inducting faithful women who were distributing the air masks, and she turns to you and says, "Hello there, my synthetic brother. It would be most appropriate if you joined my good friend here and were escorted to a more appropriate place here within our sacred community."
But he's my emotional support droid.
We are your emotional support droid now. As a
Okay.
family, they reach out and touch you.
That's nice.
I'm here to assist. If it would help, I would happily attend whatever it is you require of me.
Excellent. The guard clamps a gloved hand on the back of your frame and unceremoniously pulls you out of the room immediately. just drags you along and yanks you out here. I'm going to come back to you, Andrew, and what's going on with
Perfect.
your poor android body in a second. The same docent, we'll call her, this inductor, goes over to you, Tommy, and gently places a hand on your gun and says, no weapons are allowed on the premises, of course, beloved, and starts to take that off of you. Do you comply?
This is my emotional support weapon. No.
The other guard starts to come forward, and it looks like there's going to be an immediate problem if you do anything other than surrender your items here.
I have a certificate. I will set it to stun. But
I'm going to
this
come
is
back
like
to you,
my
Tommy.
child.
As you have this conversation, Gemma, you and Hurley see that the instructions are being given to the men, women, and others in front of you, and they all start to disrobe. And everybody that all these inductees are, Hurley, you go for it. You just drop trowel as everybody starts getting real naked around you, Tommy. Gemma and Tommy, how do you react to this?
How out of it am I?
Up to you.
Okay, because you said like mildly chill. So like, do I still have like some control of like what is happening? Okay. No.
Just lean into Tommy and just go, Tommy, we have to pay attention to their rituals and customs. Otherwise, they're not going to accept us as one of them.
Are you good, Hurley?
You know, might be better than I've been really long time.
Because you took off your clothes extremely fast. And like, you're
What?
wearing like 4 layers of stuff,
Oh,
dude.
shoot.
Yeah,
You're right.
Hurley, you see that they're helping you with your like socks and any other remaining things. These very gentle, very kind, faithful women of here, the Sweetening Fields, are helping you out of your last vestiges of clothing.
I just need the gum and the cigarette. It's just one cigarette. It's a comfort thing.
They say, I believe you believe that, as they take all of these items away. Gemma, how about you? What's going on?
I have no problem with nudity. I work on a farm. Animals are
Commune.
always nude, so I start to take off my coveralls. This doesn't bother me, but I say to Tommy, "Hey, why don't you ask them to put your emotional support gun with Hurley's emotional support droid? Don't you think it would be appropriate for them to be in the same place?" And I sort of try to like really try to indicate to Tommy that like this is part of a plan.
Gemma, you can see that they love this suggestion here at the Sweetening Fields too, and are like, absolutely.
Fine.
Right, Tommy? Wouldn't that be?
Yeah.
That would be okay,
They
right?
need to emotionally support each other. Yes.
Yeah.
Or with gun rolls in.
The orbiting.
Die, meatbag.
Unbelievable.
Oh, what about the meat bag?
That's a great question. Am I allowed to keep my bag of meat?
No. As they take everything from you.
They're vegan.
But it's sustenance.
It is sustenance, but also community will sustain you. Right now, you are focusing on the material, and we are here to not just feed and nourish the body, but the mind and the spirit. And we begin by being silent. And a hush falls over the crowd as, if you will allow it, the docents start to strip you down. And you notice that 2 or 3 other guards have come into the room after your initial response of not wanting to part with your weapon. Tommy, do you feel like you would make a fear save here? I want to give you the benefit, but
Now that I'm complying, not so much. If I was still like,
great, I'm totally with you.
Yeah. If I would still be holding my gun, maybe just okay. Am I a little scared that I'm about to like shoot up this place? But
a hush falls over the crowd as the android is unceremoniously dragged out of the room, and passing them in the doorway is a tall, lean, even from 20 feet away, obviously charismatic character. A shock of curly black hair tumbles down over quite nice respirator.
Elephant.
One that's the elephant trunk there is of almost filigree nature. The sparkling blue eyes. And deep V of a tunic that would only be appropriate in a situation right here. And as the door shuts behind and the pressurizers kick in, this character takes off the elephant mask and says, well, as peaceful as a field of daffodils. Look at you swaying in the wind of the sweetening fields.
Anxiety instantly up to a 10.
Go ahead and make a fear save, Gemma, as everybody in front of you falls to their knees. All of the new initiates. He says, for the uninitiated, I am First Teacher Jared Merriweather, and I welcome you to this blessed institution of higher learning and community engagement. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. And starts touching each of the people quite gingerly on the shoulders in a very respectful manner. Go ahead, Anwar.
So I know the other lady just said that I'm not allowed to have my sustenance, so I'm assuming we're going to be fed today, sir?
Shh. He strides on up to you and, putting both hands over your shoulders, says, I used to be like you. I used to have questions burning deep down inside of my chest. Can you feel that, baby boy? Puts a hand on your chest. Does the Matthew McConaughey.
I mean, it's more my stomach, but sure.
3 rules in our blessed community here at the Sweetening Fields. It is important to understand that we must first cleanse ourselves, quiet the mind, find integrity in our inner being. Beginning now, at the apogee of your journey, is a 24-hour period of mandatory silence and reflection. Shh. And presses that on your lips and gives your little tummy a rub and says, don't worry, soldier boy, we're going to get you fixed up. We do food right here. Rule number 2, to toil is human, and toil we shall here in the dirt until we are human no longer. Work is encouraged, but I strongly advise against tarrying in the fields past the evening hours. Once that sun slips below the horizon, all new initiates must be found within the confines of our communal bunk. Do not stay outside. After dark, we cannot be held responsible for what happens. Everybody else is just going for this immediately, nodding and murmuring, but without speaking, because, of course, there's a mandatory silence that happens here. Gemma, how did that fear save go for you?
I critically failed. I got a 94.
Oh, crap.
Bad. It went
Yeah,
bad.
that's what happened.
Yeah.
This guy is legitimately terrifying.
Oh, good.
What's the third rule?
The third rule, my loquacious little cucumber, is that First Teacher knows best. Trust me, love me, and I will serve you. I am now realizing at the back of my brain that is a direct quote from David Bowie from The Labyrinth at the very end. And I will be your slave, he says. However, so he gives you one firm but gentle zip it look and then turns his attention. I am happy to entertain those who would not feel compliant with the rules that we have set forth for your safety and for your ascendance. Our discipline is thorough, and it is sweet, and we are happy to deal that out. Sylviana, as you critically fail, you see that the men and women who are falling to their knees, the initiates are being interacted with by, what did I call them? Docents? Yeah, let's stay with that. the docents here have begun to shave the heads of everybody that is on their knees naked, and so you're watching locks of hair fall around the ankles and knees of those who are prostrating themselves here in the presence of the first teacher. As they reach you, and have you fallen to your knees?
Yes.
Great. As they come to you with the clippers, how do you critically fail in this moment?
I think.
Spoiler, it'll end in a panic attack. I mean, in a panic check, so we'll go from there, but yeah.
It'll hit the panic attack. Yeah. I think like as I can hear the razor because it's an electric razor,
Yeah,
right?
just standard
And I
clippers.
can like hear it buzzing in my ear.
Yeah.
And it's just like too much for me. And I instinctively reach my arm up and grab onto the wrist of the person holding it.
Exquisite. Let's go ahead and roll our very first panic check. Since it's a critical failure, go ahead and add on one more stress on top of whatever you already gained before you do this, and we'll make the
Okay.
first panic check of the game already as you, unable to contain the apprehension, snatch the wrist of the docent holding the shears.
I rolled a 12, which is above my stress of 5.
Excellent. So you keep it together and you don't panic, but you do suddenly feel a tremor of fear as you act out of character. And in return, you feel. Actually, I've felt this in real life. The first time I had this feeling, Sylviana, I thought a horse had kicked me in the spine, but I had just grabbed an electric fence. And in the same way, a shock from the back of the head as one of these guards immediately jams the prongs of this cattle prod into your neck, and you go down, taking 6 damage.
Yep.
Your armor is all 0, everybody in the room, because you've been stripped nude. And as the first teacher reaches you, Hurley, he kneels down in front of you, places his hands on you, full, that kid from the Lost Boys in the Hook movie, and mooshes your cheeks around and says, "Mystical, I like you. Can I tell you a secret?"
Yeah. Yeah.
He pulls you close in a situation that it could be a kiss. You're not sure. He gets really, really close, and with his lips pressing intimately against your earlobe, he says, "Somebody here is gonna betray me." He leans back and gives you a coy little wink. And he goes, "First teacher knows. First teacher believes." He stands up and says, "Welcome to the sweetening fields, my daffodils. You will be led first to a dinner fit for kings, and tomorrow the work begins." And he turns with a flourish, gas masks up, and walks out. He passes, and I'll come back to us here in the room here in a moment. The guard that is dragging. You are not being guided, by the way, Locke. You are being pulled like a rolling trash bin across this wet lawn, and looming in front of you is the remains of this ragged depot, a 4-story tall warehouse that looks like it's been war-torn in a previous era. Large train tracks running out of either side of it. Across this great lawn, and the first teacher walking past this guard says, "They brought a synthetic," as the guard mumbles something back unintelligible through the mask, and he says, "Put it with the others," and starts to drag you towards the depot. You, for the moment, are in a compliant state. Do you choose to remain in that state?
Yes. I think that there's also I'm assuming like the pulse rifle is like in under his arm or something like that. It's all kind of going to the same place.
Thank you for reminding me. The first teacher says, "Ooh, what do we have here?" as he sees the guard toting the pulse rifle and says, "Beautiful. Company issue." Slings it over his back and says, "Thank you." And then with a delicate finger wipes a little bit of dirt off of your otherwise varnished exterior.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did not realize I was unseemly.
Yes, the guard kicks you and starts dragging you towards the depot.
Please do not abuse my gum dispenser.
Make a fear save for me. Androids have the luxury of having wicked high fear scores. What is yours, if you don't mind me asking?
My fear score is 80.
Yeah, makes sense. But let's see if the dice have a different story.
Right? Oh, wait, I should do it in the app because other things happen. All right.
Oh, that's true.
Save fear. Okay. 50 success.
Fantastic. You are undaunted, and you aren't kicked hard enough for it to matter as they drag you into the looming maw of this abandoned depot. You are dragged past disused farm equipment, but they don't seem to put much stock in your being or your observational skills, and so you are freely watching all of this as you're dragged past different industrial equipment. You see a bank of exo-loaders, the full, like, forklift-looking things
Yeah.
that just rests silently, a little rusty in a corner. You see, as you are dragged along, a large defunct rail car that seems like it was part of a larger, you would know immediately, interplanetary network of
Mhm.
transport for produce
Yeah.
and stuff. It looks a little broken, not terribly, and you get the sense that this place is not used for what it once was, as you were dragged through the depot, past some lockers and other quiet rooms, to the edge of a large sinkhole. Um,
Ah.
the guard props you up at the edge of the sinkhole. In Mothership, conflict that requires urgency works in like 10-second rounds, during
Mhm.
which you can do two-ish things. For example, you could aim a gun with a precision and shoot. You could run a really long way, run a short way and hide, interact with the person interacting with you, all sorts of things. But it's usually like two reasonable things within a round.
Mhm.
If you do nothing, there is no question that this guard is going to drop kick you
Yeah.
into this yawning pit of mud.
Mhm.
And as you look down into it, your sensors pick up the detritus of dozens of other synthetic beings that have been unceremoniously thrown into this sinkhole.
Mhm. I think that so the way that I'm seeing it is I'd like to be left alone as soon as possible with as little conflict as possible. So my goal is more to survive than it
Sure.
is to like shoot this guy in the gut, you know?
Right. With your gun dispenser.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that like cuz I kind of hover or whatever, if I'm getting thrown into a sinkhole and then left, um I think I'm kind of okay with that to a certain degree if I'm ultimately kind of okay with that, go about my own business.
Awesome.
So my like my repulsors or something, you know, if I can heighten them to like kind of slow fall myself once I were to arrive at the bottom.
Love that. You tell me, is it about doing the math? Is it about reacting quickly enough? Or is it about using enough force?
I think it's more of a math thing. Like I need to make sure to kick the repulsors in at the right height for them
Amazing.
to successfully keep me from bonking so hard into the ground that the egg cracks.
Andrew, I'm just going to say right now you're playing Mothership, right? And this is great. The guard boots you over the edge and you flip tub over tip into the sinkhole. Go ahead and roll an intellect check with advantage.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go in here. So I go stat, intellect, and then click advantage. Nifty. 41 success.
Amazing. You activate your thrusters in such a way that you're getting banged up, you're getting dented, but not in a way that damages any sort of integral parts. As caked in mud and slip, you roll in such a way that is satisfying to the guard who watches you fall and then turns away, but doesn't catch, as at the last moment you suddenly counter boost and your little hovering mechanisms keeps you from hitting that last terminal piece of slick mud that would have sucked you down
Mhm.
into itself and beyond. And your burners kick in quietly over the sunken faces of other lost androids as you several stories down now into this mudslick, taking your new situation.
Yeah, I'm looking for anything of use or anything still potentially latent or active in this pit, like weaponry or like another droid that could be useful that like was thrown down here and has a little bit of battery charge or something.
Amazing. Go ahead and roll a D100 and I'm going to cut back to the others. Look, Sylviana, I've separated the party again. So
I love when you do that.
every time, damn it. So
It's the best.
it's the best. Also, it makes for a fun movie. Sylviana, Gemma is one of the last to be shorn, and Tommy, you watch as your locks fall to the ground. Hurley, it feels nice. You feel like a baby seal as the wind greets your new bald scalp. And
Cameron,
it's-
is this a personal thing that we're dealing with right now?
everybody realizes how cool and sexy you look as a bald person, and we just generally agree that you're universally attractive now. So, good job.
And if I need to blind someone, just
Exactly. Just go like that. This light in here. Yeah. You are stood up. The rules are clear to be quiet. You are dressed in matching beige frocks, all of you, and very humble work sandal shoe combo type things, and one size fits all jumpers. As you are led silently out of the ops center. You just in leaving Gemma, as the adrenaline starts to help you focus a little bit from that panic that hovered at the edge of your perception. You clock a few things in here. Just by looking at it, it seems like this is the hub, this room that you're in, and that if important things are happening, they're probably happening in this room, at least technologically. You see a staircase as you exit that would lead to like the drone control center. All of you know, as you are ushered away from this, that there will not be another automated drone for 7 days. As you walk out onto the fresh green lawn, you step out with the other faithful, and you are led to this converted spaceship that is docked on the lawn like a big Windstream trailer, just several times over in scope. As other faithful come out midsummer style and adorn you with garlands and flowers, and they sing happy songs within their elephantine masks that wound up sounding garbled and inefficient from a musical standpoint. But the different faithful receive this. You see in the distance the first teacher walking up towards that distinct church building, take a key from a ring around his neck, unlock the church door, and go in, pulse rifle slung around his shoulder, and then lock it behind him as you are led to the bunkhouse. You are instructed that tonight there will be a great feast, and that tomorrow the labors will begin, but that, at least for the moment, you've got a little bit of downtime here. And of course, 24-hour silence is mandatory. The back of your neck, Gemma, still stings from where they zapped you at the base of your skull in a deeply unpleasant manner. You can see, as the only person really cogent here, the tracks from where Locke was unceremoniously dragged away. This is the setting that I will drop you all in the middle of.
Question for Cam,
Yo.
or just for everyone. Like, what are the chances that we know Morse code? Given my military background, given like how this is like a covert mission.
Tommy, do you know Morse code?
I mean, I have military training, so I would think so.
Great.
But my question is, would these two know?
Oh, that's
no?
fantastic.
There's no way.
Yeah, that's okay. Never mind. I was
There's no way I know Morse code.
I was trying to find some way to communicate. Hurley, you have linguistics?
I didn't take linguistics. I ended up taking jerry-rigged.
For future reference, I have linguistics.
Oh.
It makes sense that you would know Morse code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
All right.
be
So
like,
we have to find some way to communicate then.
I have 2 questions. 1, as we were walking around, do I have any idea where a med bay or medical building might be? And 2, as we were walking around, did I see my daughter, Melissa?
Question 1. You have a sense that if there's any sort of medicine, it was either in the building you just left or very possibly in the building ahead. Um, that seems fair for you to assume. This place is many things. It is not particularly derelict, other than the big depot. Everything seems maintained in a very earthy manner, but the stoops are clean. The paint is fresh, and so you get the sense that there's probably bandages. This is a farm after all, so yeah. If you're looking for medicine, Operations
I
Center.
am.
Yeah. So that's what you would take away. You look around. Roll a d100.
Okay.
And just for a peek behind.
55,
Wow.
which is either very good or very bad, depending.
Yeah, I was about to say peek behind the curtain. In this particular, like, there's not perception checks, as I've said before. But sometimes when you're doing grab bags, I like to play either odds or evens, or even more simply, like, hey, if a double happens really quickly, if a double happens, then something crazy goes on. You
So
don't
kind of like a
Yeah.
pseudo luck roll, sort of.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Just none of this is important, honestly.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just sort of like spinning the
Yeah.
the
It's a little
fate bottle.
decision maker. Yeah.
Yeah. And so in that, you see something you don't expect, which is dozens of children. Yeah, all of them singing and prancing with their elephantine little masks in a building
Oh,
to
that's
your right.
horrifying.
Yeah, there are children here. Lots of mommies, you would guess.
Are you my
And
mommy?
so your stomach sinks as you realize that the situation before, maybe it was I don't know, we could kill some people. Things are worse now as you realize, is one of these my granddaughter? I don't know. Your stomach drops and you gain a point of stress unfairly for that, I'll say. Just as it's the thought occurs to you that maybe there's more family here than you originally imagined as you see the children playing at a building that seems like it used to be some sort of like granary or silo off to the right. That has been repurposed into some sort of education center or something. There's a playground and that sort of thing. So you see
Re-education.
a re-education center.
Well, for the kids,
I
it's
mean,
just
for
the
those
first one.
kids, they
Oh,
were never
yeah.
educated in the first place. They've spent their whole lives here.
Under the
We
Institute
have
of
to save
Higher
them. We have
Learning.
to save the children. We have to get them out.
So
And they've
yes.
been drugged the whole time? No.
Hmm.
It's not safe to do those kinds of drugs when you're young and your brain is still developing.
That's true.
If they're being drugged.
Now, I have a question.
If they're not being drugged, then there are elephantine masks that don't pump drugs into our system. So that would be helpful to know.
Yes, DJ.
Come here,
Uh,
kid.
So, as you said, one of these,
takes their mask and puts it on.
Yeah.
one of the things you'd mentioned was that there is a ship currently used as a building.
Yes.
Was there any indication that it was disabled? And would jury rigging be useful if and when we need to escape?
A cool warden would have thought of this, and I absolutely did not. And so I am so thrilled to honor this, that you think with the right amount of jiggery pokery, you might get a little something go. Like, it's in decent condition. So that option
Alright.
occurs to you. It doesn't seem like it would be all I got to do is find the keys. It's sort of like the trailer is on blocks, but but it's this thing seems ship shape literally. So maybe it looks like it's originally intended to just ship like sea level types in comfort from one place to another, but has been converted into a bunkhouse. So
Well, let's be honest. If the feds show up,
mhm.
the leadership is going to want to get out real quick. Or maybe they'll go out the other way, but
It's a fascinating thought, and it
Give me
occurs to you.
death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, questions of fuel and stuff like that pop up, but it's very intriguing. Tommy, anything from you as you look around this field of happy faces?
I approach one of the happy-faced people, keeping my mouth shut, not saying anything, tap him lightly on the shoulder, and signal for, like, paper and pen. Question.
They smile and hand you your very own prayer journal. It's in fact, you notice that all of the inductees who have been here for a while, the faithful initiates, are wearing little notepads. This is part of it.
Do I have a pencil?
Yeah, you
Okay.
got everything you need.
Sick. Thank you. I do. Pray your hands and bow. And namaste. Okay. All right. Great. So yeah, then I go gather these
It's not creepy,
two.
it's European.
Yeah, that's what we're calling it, not culty.
They're just all
Right.
French.
So I try to gather us three, and I find whatever space I can in this Bible-esque book they gave us and write Melissa ? That's the name of the girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I shake my head like I didn't see her.
Okay. I write gun ? No? Okay.
I try to make like a draw an egg shape.
Egg ?
Lock. No, like be like with the
Lock.
With the
egg,
robot?
with the droid.
Okay.
As you have this clandestine conversation, you're approached by a brawny, strapping sort who's got a decent amount of like regrowth in their hair. This person essentially looks like they've been here a while, and they step up and placing gentle, quiet hands around the group of you, puts a hand over your journal and leans in and says, "Not now. Tonight, the kitchen." And then squeezes, does a little bit of a twirl and a Hare Krishna type routine, and then heads back with tambourines and flowers and joins the folderol, but seems to encourage you against looking so very obvious as they rejoin the fold.
Well, we either found an ally or we're about to be super caught.
Yeah. Anything from you, Doctor?
Yeah, so religion's my thing. I'm trying to pay as close attention to the customs of these people as possible. Because not only am I here to save Melissa, but this is fascinating. This is my area of study. And it's always nice to learn about the weird and esoteric cults. But yeah, I think that's really all I have for me. As I am just trying to stick close to the other two.
Is there anything?
Can I try something?
Yeah, please.
Sorry. I want to, without making it too obvious, lift my mask, my elephantine mask, and take a really deep breath of the air around us.
Great.
And because I'm currently lucid, I want to try to figure out if it's actually harmful. Like, is it hurting me? Or is that all a ruse?
You remove your mask, and as you inhale, it has the discomforting feeling of you mooshing your face into a ball of loose cotton candy as you feel the filaments of the air itself kind of suck into your lungs. You take 2 points of damage nearly immediately as you get the sense that prolonged exposure to this could be deeply problematic. It is not comfortable,
Okay.
and your mouth is filled with a sickly, sweet aftertaste.
So, in my mind, I have to find some antidote to the drug that's being pumped into these masks, because having Tommy and Hurley just remove the masks is not an option.
It's a good thing to think about.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, in the robot pit, how'd that roll go, Andrew?
Well, it's a 53, so I don't know.
It is a 53. You were looking for evidence of other robots, power sources. Do you have a goal in mind?
Yeah, pretty much like, like I want to get information ideally from any, like if there were any um synthetics that were present in earlier stages of the farm, maybe they were still using synthetics at some point
Mhm.
and they got rid of them, or any, like even if I could go up to like if there's another android nearby or something to that effect,
Sure.
that I could access like their latent memory banks that are still there, not necessarily like full on like the robot speak with dead, is kind of my strat here.
That's my new blog title. That's incredible. You uh have the discomforting feeling of being alone in this pit, but hey, alone is different when you're synthetic. And you float among the remains of the synthetic dead. You see body parts and things. There's butts and legs of more standard worker
Just
droid type
butts.
things.
Just
Just the
butts.
pit of butts. But as your thrusters and the soft light that emit from them just under you in a little pool move over the wet mud, uh, two things happen. One is that they clear away enough silt from a placid, almost crash test dummy like face, and you see what could be a nice interface port for one of these fallen worker comrades. So that is what you behold. Let's deal with that
Mhm.
first. What would you like to do with that?
Yeah, I would just like to like pop open one of my doors that has like a it's somewhere between like Tinker Toys and like a proboscis looking thing. So it's just kind of like a little weird arm that could come out and just kind of like turn the head or something to see if I could get at any like memory bank or interface port on the back of this thing.
Awesome. Go ahead and make yet another intellect check.
Yeah, okie dokie. I'm going to do that with this. So it's stat, intellect, jury rigging or computers.
Computers. You have
Okay.
success. Oh, awesome. Instantly with this, and your vision it's so successful that droids perception. You are walking through a field. In fact, the green lawn that you were dragged across, and you recognize a warm glow from these cabins and repurposed buildings as droids carrying a bushel of something, and confounded. Considers his options. You skip forward to it circling with the bushel of whatever it is it's attempting to deliver to a back door, and it opens easily. It emerges in to the interior of this room, and it is filled with candles. There's no other light. The floor is just littered with candles on every possible surface as it steps carefully and, looking around, attempts to divine what it was supposed to do with this rather mundane delivery. It turns and hears, you can some sort of susurrus, the faintest conglomeration of voices softly speaking in unison in a
I would use
rhythmic fashion.
like a little like noise like a like denoising filter or something to try and like process through the audio.
Yeah, the thing that brings you back to yourself or your system's kicking in to enhance as it
Yeah.
and a window pops up within yourself as you and you hear that you were mistaken, actually, on such a wonderful contribution. It's not voices, it's soft grunting. And it's not particularly human as you hear this sort of. And you, as this drone, move into the path of candles and towards. You're in some sort of like kitchenette or something. And you step out of that into what you assume is a sanctuary proper because the ceiling gives way to just shadow. And you turn, and there, kneeling in a semicircle around what appears to be an old school TV rack, substitute public school teacher style.
AV
The
Club,
wheels, AV Club. Similar to the scene that your colleagues just experienced at the beginning of this, as far as posture goes, except that the sound is deafening and blocking out the screams you should be hearing from all of the people quaking and beholding the thing in front of them as they shudder and scream. The video cuts out. The drone is running across the grass, having just lost its shit, and running away from the church, turns just into time to see a very, very large shape burst from the crop line at the edge of the field, and that's all you see, and it cuts out as you disengage. Fear save with disadvantage?
Definitely. Yeah, that's a lot to process. Okay, so I keep grabbing my dice. Go away. All right. Let's go. Fear save. We should do pretty good. Hopefully. He's at disadvantage, though, so 51 is a success.
Fear saves and androids, man. It's just not going to happen. You receive this information. Fantastic. And as you come to, you get the distinct feeling that other than the fallen synthetic comrades you have all around you, that you are not quite alone in this pit. Your sensors look up the few stories of depth to the slick mud walls around this thing, and you see that the sun is beginning to set over the farmstead, and you detect movement nearby. You are uncertain of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
How would you like to react?
I think generally Locke's strategy is much more wait and find out than react in a lot of ways, but with what information I have for the movement that I'm sensing, is it slow? Was it a quick spike of movement that then stopped? Like what type of movement was it that I ascertained?
Big.
Big? Okay. So, yeah, generally I'm the big weird thing. So, I'm not the most comfortable
You're
with
in a
that.
mud pit. You get
Yeah.
a feeling that is closest to when a large creature passes under a boat.
Yeah, no, not comfy. So I'm gonna try and if I can't do it of my own ability, I have another idea, but how much can I overpower or like surge power to my repulsors to try and like essentially egg jump my way out of this?
Sounds like a strength check to me.
Okay, cool. So
Egg jump. Egg jump.
egg jump, egg jump. It's just a clench. It's just like one really big clench. Let's see. Goes so strength and yeah, I mean I don't think industrial equipment's gonna help me on that.
You
Maybe.
are the industrial.
I am the industrial equipment.
You are welcome to sell me on anything. I love being pitched on stuff.
No,
so
I'm
it's,
good.
Yeah.
That's a failure. That's a 71. Yep. So just
That
gonna
is you
It works.
succeed in crawling out of the pit.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's we're cutting in right on that. That's where we're starting back up. Well, listeners, unfortunately, Anwar had some life stuff come up. Doggies and life come first. But we're gonna keep going and jump back into our game here. Hopefully, we survive.
Hopefully we
Maybe.
survive. Maybe. Andrew, it works. You climb out of the pit, and as the thrusters engage inside your ceramic body, ceramic? What are we dealing with here? I haven't
Yeah,
asked.
I
And
feel like
I think it's rude to presume.
it's not metal. I like ceramic. That feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like metal could cause more problems than like I would like to deal with.
Yeah. Something cracks and snaps as you push it past the means of what you're going to of what you intended to here, because it's not a critical failure here. I'm not a jerk. I'm not going to make you roll on the wounds table. However, in order to boost up out of this pit with the sense that you've narrowly evaded something, you
Mhm.
take a wound, so your health goes all the way back up to full. You now make
That's
speed
so cool.
checks with disadvantage as your
Okay.
thrusters just
So
crap
there's a
out.
wound button in the
Mhm.
dice section. And there's like options like blunt force, bleeding, gunshot, fire and explosive gore, and massive. I'm just curious about those.
Yeah. So what I did was not canon by any means. Normally,
Okay.
your HP drops to 0, and then you roll on the wounds table, which we could do. For me, with like a regular fail, it seemed
Yeah.
unfair to chance, because
Sure.
with a wound, you can actually die full out
Right. Yeah.
before you lose all your
Totally.
HP. Andrew, you make it out, and in that you gain a wound. Your stress increases, which should have happened automatically from the if you're using the app to do
Yeah, it's at 5.
right. Yeah. As you are filled with the sensory information that though you have damaged yourself from your exertions, overclocking is a much better alternative to what you may have just endured. You cannot put your
Mhm.
digital finger on what that was. As covered in mud and detritus from the pit, you slough your way out, marking that the sun is setting on the horizon, and you stand unsupervised now in this hangar-sized depot. And I'm going to leave you there for just a minute as the humans.
What is an orb to do?
What is an orb to do? That orb life, just you're on the grind 24/24 in
Orbital life. Would you like
supplements.
to join?
Find 20 other orbs. The indoctrination is straightforward and quiet and not particularly pushy, as you're separated by gender, by height, by other assignations you aren't really sure about, Hurley and Gemma. And for a few hours, you don't see each other. Hurley, you're taken into what appears to be the men's bunk, or at least you think it is. But then there's also just some particularly svelte women or in betweeners in there, insofar as you get the sense that maybe it's not gender, maybe it's aptitude physically. You seem to be sorted by. It's weirder than your initial expectation, but you just clock this with your analytical mind. Inside the
Yeah.
bunkhouse, it is self-contained, and you are not wearing your elephantine gas mask. So once within that, it has its own little mini airlocky port here. And when I say airlock, they're not as intense as it would be on a true like space station, because there's
Is
not
it like when you walk into Walmart and they're just like shooting the heat down at you?
and there's a person in an apron going, "Hello." Yes, it's that. It's the whole thing.
Perfect.
There's little dispensers of cool stickers on the side. It's intense
Wonderful. I love Walmart core.
here on the sweetening fields. Okay, totally unrelated. We're looking through what we game aside. Where the panic table's trying to figure out some fun Mothership stuff to like kickstart, because we're also interested in just kind of seeing what we can offer the like sci-fi horror
Products,
community
yeah.
product wise and stuff. And so one of the things we were considering was making some fun like Mothership companion cards, because it's like
Yeah.
fun to be like, oh, my guns, instead of just like writing down gun
I gotta
on your
show you
notepad.
what I've been doing.
I know. I've been following that. We'll have a date and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that, because your work is awesome and I love the art. But
Thanks.
yeah, I was talking it over with the Tuesday Night Games fellas, just for like copyright reason and what that might be. And they were like, well, you can't just reproduce our text. And I was like, obviously. And I was like, but what if we made the Kirkland signature Mothership brand stuff of just like one step adjacent of body armor, but by
Father
that's
boat.
oh, my wife. Hold on one second. How long am I doing?
Oh my god, tell her I say hi.
One, Sylviana says
Me too.
hello. And Andrew.
That's the most important thing.
DJ remains ominously quiet.
Always.
Doesn't seek to greet you.
Okay,
Rude.
sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, it feels like you are being separated by physical capacity. Because you notice some of the less, and right now, Hurley, I'm picturing you as like slightly above average. Would you say like, or you tell me what you picture yourself as?
Yeah. I would say Hurley is slightly above average, right? Just he's in decent shape.
Mhm.
Just maybe a little chonk.
Flashback
on
to
him.
when I was like, those stats are slightly above average. Yeah, there's some love handles, but he's done a sit up or
Yeah.
two. So
At
great.
least.
Yeah. So you get the sense that you're sorted in that that manner, and that is affirmed as Gemma is actually sorted back with you as a capable person in that area. So the day passes, if that's okay with y'all. I want to like move forward a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll
Oh,
get back to the
absolutely.
wacky adventures of the Eggbot in a second here, but in the meantime, and Andrew, this is presuming that you wouldn't just be like, well, time to immediately rejoin the crew. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. So it's silent. It's odd, and you get the sense that the notepads are not for standard communication the way that Tommy was using them, and it's weird because Tommy is missing. Now, you would assume that as the most fit out of all of you, that Tommy would be in this room with you, but yeah, you look in the rooms with the larger and the smaller people, and he's not around, and that sticks out to you. But simple bunk beds, modest plastisteel construction, space IKEA sheets, nothing to write home about. And
Are we only with initiates?
you are only with initiates, that's right. Now, you as you wander the bunkhouse, you seem to have a fair bit of freedom in this space. You note that so far throughout the day, there's been maybe 1 or 2 guards per building tops. It's not a densely populated place. Full stop. You get the sense that maybe on a different floor in this spaceship or something. It's hard to tell where the people who live here. You're still getting settled in, but yeah, you do note that everybody in your immediate confines are initiates. You are ushered into a modest supper as you sit around long canteen style tables and you eat some sort of porridge and nutrients. Sylviana, Gemma, even as you're given this dinner, you don't get the sense that there's something added. There's no special sauce here, as everybody just eats.
So is it bland? Is there no spice?
seasonings.
There's no special sauce.
There's no special sauce of any psychedelic manner or just in general. And
Is this like the most Midwestern food that any of us have ever eaten?
this is the most Midwestern planet you've ever visited.
Welcome to Wisconsin.
Space Idaho.
Space Idaho. Space Iowa. And
Oh no.
yeah, but as
We're in
all of you, the mood is somber as you are occasionally encouraged out loud by some of the more experienced community members to reflect on your current human state and reminded to aspire to an ascension to the next gate, to the next level. And the first part of doing that is recognizing that in your lowly form, it is insufficient to do so. And so to think on your sins, to think on your past, and to let that slip away as you let the day slip away. The meal, is there anything that you want to do at mealtime? Because otherwise I'm going to throw as the next fun plot curveball.
Oh no, yeah. Yep.
Go for it.
Basically waiting to go to the kitchen.
Yeah. You,
Yep.
you take your trays and then looking this way and that. Everybody seems to be just going about their business. You duck into the kitchen where you see a group of concerned looking individuals speaking in hushed tones. You are greeted by the large, handsome fellow who introduces himself as Miguel, and he says, "Get in here." He says, "Hey, I don't want to like call you out, but I can tell you two are not supposed to be here super much. Does that sound just about right?"
What? No.
Right.
That's
Supposed to is a tough. I mean, we're probably exactly where we need to be.
Two of the other members of this intense little cabal you've happened upon, who all look quite serious. One of them like slips $10 to the other one as they win the bet about the two of you, and they're like, "We can already tell that you're cool. Hey, we are among the faithful. We truly believe in the scriptures that have been divinely ordained here at this place. We also think that the first teacher has gone too far and we're going to blow this frickin' pop stand. You seem like you're on the level. What's your story? What's the deal?"
it's really interesting that you say that. I worry that the first teacher is onto you.
Expressions change. Everybody goes from sort of a relaxed camaraderie here in the kitchens, speaking in familiar hushed tones, to erect postures and grim faces as they center on what you're saying.
Unless they happen to always kind of lean in and whisper into people's ears that somebody is going to betray them. They didn't say who.
That's the strangest. Now that you mention it, says Miguel, their leader, this tallish fellow. The first teacher, and someone says, "Just say his frickin' name. It's effing Jared." And he's like, "Jared
Frickin' Jared.
always seems to be one step ahead of us." And one of the smaller, squirrelier types pipes up and says, "It's because he's reached the first gate. Of course he knows. He sees all." And Jared says, "That kind of talk isn't going to help us get out of here. But shit, if that's true, then we're probably less safe than what we thought."
If you believe so strongly in the teachings of this organization, then why do you want to leave it if you think that Jared is the only problem?
Miguel, looking through the rather Midwestern, those little like service windows that they have in kitchenettes between things, like looks through and then pulls the blinds shut on the service window for this kitchenette here on this converted spaceship. And he shares with you that people have gone missing very recently, that in fact there used to be many more of the faithful here, and that something changed very recently, ever since the first teacher's newest revelation. In fact, he points out, "Where's the muscly guy?"
Yeah, I was just going to say, there used to be more of us.
Fear saves from both of you.
Fear saves. Alright, so
I got a regular failure.
You gain
Just
stress.
a standard, everyday failure.
This
You
I got
troubles
a
you.
regular old failure as well. There's my stress. Oh, I really could use a cigarette or gum.
The squirrely one who was like, "He sees all," slides you a little space Lucky Strike and says, "Don't
Thank
smoke
you.
it where they can smell it, and don't go outside after dark."
What happens outside after dark?
As you ask this, there's a knock, knock, knock on the little cute I Love Lucy shutters, and someone says, "Hey, you rascals, curfew in there. Don't want to have to call first teacher. Ha ha, I'm an easygoing NPC that will not be referenced later." And wanders off.
Wait, what's your name?
"My name is Chelmsbly.
That's my father's name.
Blurf Chelmsbly, and I am the second teacher," he says, and he turns into mist. So
Wait, he seems so chill.
He's
Wait,
so
no, come
chill.
back.
Chosen one.
Don't you want him to be in charge?
Yeah.
Well, since we don't have much time, how can we help you and how can you help us?
So normally the drones only come once a week. Jared has the keycard access, not just to that, but to the weapons. I think if we can get to the cache that's at the edge of the field, we could probably get the drone, take the kids, and get out of here. So tomorrow we were planning on striking. It's fortuitous that you showed up looking all gangly and out of place, because you might just be the ticket we needed to get us out of here and maybe get this message out to the rest of the stars, just as the prophecy foretold. You seem like you're vibing with this, and I want to explore that later, but we can't right now.
Do you know Melissa?
Sure, we know Melissa, yeah.
Where
Where is she?
Do you know Melissa?
Yeah,
Might be part of why we're here.
I know Melissa. I knew her from before she joined.
Ah, yes. The here before. Well, Melissa she cares for the younglings. I'm sure during tomorrow's labors, when they put you to the fields, you could probably chance to find her. We're going to strike at supper time before they have the family meal. Everybody gets really quiet when he says family meal. And he says, because after that, we won't be able to. So in the meantime, we need to figure out how to get Jared's key. He wears it around his neck. But yeah, Melissa, you'd find her at the mission station, is what they call it. That converted tillery that had like the playground and the children around it. Yeah, she works with the kids
So
there.
during the day, that's where she is.
Oh yeah. At night she sleeps in. Well, they.
Why can't we? I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't tell me. I'm
Sure.
already imagining it. Why can't we go outside at night?
It's not safe.
Why?
Conveniently you are interrupted by guards who walk into
Chelmsley has
Chelmsley.
a name.
Chelmsley.
Damn it,
Chelmsley.
Chelmsley.
Yeah, comes back with two of the beige wearing guards, who conspicuously everyone else is dressed down for the evening here in this comfortable sealed environment. The guards are still wearing full you just clock as the guards come in. You haven't seen any skin on these guys as they come in and disperse you. Everybody immediately gets quiet. Everybody goes their separate directions. Is that something that the two of you would like to do as well?
Oh yeah.
It is very obviously lights out here at the Sweetening Fields. And so now we have kind of a fun semblance of downtime for all three of you as a lone egg-shaped robot, softly glowing, floats around the depot, and the two of you think of plans and machinations. So I want to throw you all the ball and see what you want to do with it tonight before the next day begins.
So I have a goal.
Okay.
Now that I'm out of that pit. I don't know how involved I can get with my technology and in the universe that we're in. But these I can't remember what you referred to them as, like the mech loader kind of things you described for like exo loaders. Yeah. So my hope is that they have some degree of like remote access that I could maybe get one if I need it in a pinch.
You could. Here's my question for you. Though, as you've envisioned our Eggly Lock Pal, do they? Is it R2D2 where they can generally interact with day-to-day things?
That's kind of how I see. Yeah, it's like I am a Swiss Army egg.
Yeah, you can pilot an exoloader.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Since you're company standard, I think there's just a like universal jack that you can and just operate it, but you'd be in it. It's not a remote.
Okay.
Now, if you
so
wanted
it
to,
would be...
you would have what you would need to know to maybe make a check and design a way to work one remotely. But
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I don't want to walk out of here in a mech right now per se. But like in a pinch, if that thing could come barging in, and then like I could hop in it to more thoroughly pilot.
Little jury rigging check. Doesn't that sound like it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, something along the lines of just kind of like a a summon that I could do at some point. You know, just beeline to me.
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and make
Let's see.
intelligence, which I need to stop feeding you rolls that are just in your egg house. But
In my
intelligence, and then you can do industrial equipment or whatever. Success?
Yes, 68 success.
Nice. What is your intellect? It was like,
It is a lot. It's 59.
you're a smart little dude.
Yeah, and I got the plus 10, so I actually only barely.
What a good
Yeah.
egg.
What a good egg.
Yeah, you tell
Uh,
me what that looks like as you work alone in this depot.
Yeah, so I just kind of hover over to the loader and couple doors open up, the wires kind of like, you know, into the open ports. And just this egg with like 4 wires just kind of like sticking into this loader as I kind of process the software. And I realized like, oh no, like this there's some bad old code in here. Let me run a couple updates of things that I have in my own system, some universal code cleanup programs. And then just kind of upload like my little jury rigged beeline, like it's like basically a program that's just called beeline.
Love it.
And that I can kind of burst some data out at the moment's notice to call it to myself. And yeah, that's it, that's pretty much it.
I love it. You work quietly in the ominous dark of this depot, noting that there is what seems to be a rotation of a guard on the Great Lawn, but as the sun fully sets, those guards move indoors at each of the set locations that they're at.
Hmm.
And just for free as you're quietly inconspicuously working and poking this thing, which I imagine is not a very showy, sparky
No,
thing. It's all
no,
yep.
it's pretty
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Yes, they all go inside, and you would calculate that each building has at least one guard in it. So,
Hmm.
with the notable exception of the depot that is open air.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and essentially once that was done, my next priority is either any like I'm already pretty confident, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's probably no network that I can tap into locally that's interfacing these places. This is a farm, right? They're not using anything that's
analog.
clearly like, yeah, this is analog. So if that's the case,
your
then
attention is caught again by the like drone field. There's possibilities there with the ops tower, but it doesn't look like the rest of it is very high tech. Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
You
My next
also notice
priority
behind
is,
you
is
the-
finding where my people are. So
Great, okay.
just trying to see what I've been able to pick up. You know, like I you know, just basic observation. I came out after dark, so I'm not seeing necessarily where people filed into per se. But if I can
Mhm.
suss out if there's any signs, or just like lodging or anything like that.
Yes, it is abundantly clear that the initiates are in the large converted transport ship / bunkhouse. So,
Okay, I
no
would.
check necessary. You're like,
Yeah,
probably that one.
that would be my destination.
And the Great Lawn, size wise, helpful. It's like a big soccer field or football field size Great Lawn.
Rolls
That's-
across the lawn.
Oh. I'm going
Stealthy.
to need you to make a speed check with disadvantage for me as you step out into the open from the depot shadows.
Now, here's a question, and potentially putting myself in a precarious situation. From my wound earlier, was that also a speed check disadvantage?
How do you mean?
I thought I heard you note something when I received my wound.
Oh, yeah. I was just reminding you that when you speed check with disadvantage. Until...
Okay, so that's what this disadvantage is from.
Correct. Yes.
Got it. I didn't know if it was from
Not a new
just
one.
how
Yeah.
obvious it was. Okay, cool. Great.
Yeah. You amble out
Yep.
into the open.
Okay, so this is going to be... You said, is this save? No, this is
Well,
a...
yeah, this is a speed check to
stat.
see if you need to save.
Yep. Okay. Disadvantage. This is a failure. I rolled an 82.
Incredible. A shot rings out from somewhere in the darkness. Blam! And you body save.
Okay. Uh,
Inside the bunkhouse, everybody hears the crack of a rifle shot. Both of you fear save.
you just
As
see so I
Mhm.
save successfully, but like as the shot rings out, I kind of like because I'm rolling
Yeah,
and I'm egg shaped, so it's like thump, 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 thump. Like I just kind of stop, like bolt egg
like
upright
a
as
weeble.
soon as you're just like just like stopping in position, just like don't move and they can't see you kind of moment. Just egg standing in field.
I failed.
You gain stress.
Truly, the last thing that I wanted to hear right now was a gunshot.
Yeah. Everybody very
It's Tommy.
quietly inside the bunkhouse moves to the windows. The initiates do. The one or two elders, these experienced believers, simply carry on with their business quite quietly. Uh, and are uninterested in the rifle shot. As people try to see what's going on through
Mhm.
the windows of the thing. Turf explodes near the base of your exquisite egg, Andrew.
So you
As
just see as a little door opens on this upright static egg, just a little, and slowly out of that hole comes just a small revolver that I have apparently.
like a full-on revolver
Just an actual revolver
with like a
and
dino
like a
grabber
little,
claw on it.
yeah, exactly. It's like it's made out of Tinker Toys, just kind of like, and then there's a revolver in the hand. And the egg just spins a little bit with the revolver in the direction of the
Uh,
shot.
it is so yeah. So you are looking for a target.
Potentially, I'm both like this. It's not like full on cowboy western. Like you do hear like the viewers. It's just like like the showdown noise or whatever. But like it's more just like carefully scanning while like looking for where the shot could have come from. Not thinking, yeah, I can. It's a close range, so I'm not expecting to take out someone with a rifle, but more just like this is a reflex.
The mournful sound in the distance becomes cleared as a hand-wound klaxon
Oh.
Oh no.
starts to power up somewhere near the vicinity of the drone field. And
Mm-hmm.
you get the sense that things are only going to get worse. In the next 10 seconds, your shooter is going to try again.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to do about that? I also want to welcome the other two to participate if they'd like in any sort of fashion,
Yeah.
because they are maybe like 50 yards from you.
There's a 10
I-
second window.
This is again in Mothership about time to do two things. There are like cover rules and stuff. You can like dive behind stuff in a fairly standard way
Right.
to create armor points for yourself, etc. If the,
Early in our bunk,
Yeah.
we hear a gunshot.
yeah, and then you hear an alarm start to come up after that.
And then we hear an alarm. In my mind, I think it's probably Tommy.
Yeah,
Like, at no point am I thinking this is our little egg droid lock. Like, why would that thought ever cross my mind?
Right. You just
I
don't
think
know
it's
Locke like I
probably
do.
Tommy, and hopefully he got his gun back. I don't
Tommy
have any
got his gun.
equipment. Yeah, exactly. But maybe this is an opportunity to steal the key card
Ooh.
because an
Distraction
alarm just went
time.
off. Right. Maybe this is the distraction that we needed
Hmm.
because that's the thing. Right. It's steal the key card, get Melissa, who is with the children, get all of the children off of this base.
interesting.
That's
By
what we were
hijacking
told,
our
right?
barracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing all of this math, and as that shot rings out and the klaxon sounds, the one guard that seems to be assigned to the bunkhouse stands at attention at the entrance that you took into it, and doesn't go outside, but just like stands on guard and is very interested in what's going on, trying to like see out the porthole, but
Mhm.
very much is blocking the way of the ingress that you took.
I would like to look over to my companion here and pull out my book and write. Um, and what I would like to write is throwing Chimbly under bus to get to first teacher.
Chimsbly. Come on.
Chimsley.
Misspelling, honestly,
Mhm.
is mainly what it is.
Coming with?
I
Question
I
mark.
take the like pencil and I kind of cross out Chemsley and I write anyone.
Chimsley's the only name I know.
I'm like trying to indicate to you that like these Miguel and these people, like
Oh,
I
maybe.
do not trust them.
Okay.
I have
Yep.
so many reasons not to trust them, and the only reason to trust them is that it's the only plan that we have.
Absolutely. Yep.
If
I
should
want to
be-
approach the guard and whisper, even though I know I'm supposed to be silent. But this, and I'll say it. I'll do it actually. I know that I'm supposed to be silent, but I am worried for the first teacher's life. You see, he confided something in me, and I would like to set his worries at ease by telling him the information he wants to know.
Body save?
Body say, oh no.
Ooh.
Gemma, what are you doing
Uh,
before I cut back to the action on
there-
the lawn?
I'm looking around to see if there's any other egress from this room.
critical success.
A critical success is what I'm talking about, DJ. Oh, my soft-spoken scientist pal. Yeah, Gemma, you have a feeling it's a converted spaceship, right? There's got to be something. So pick a room and you know, what do you? So yeah, there are three. There's like the canteen area, the bunkhouses, which are like just separate dormitories, and then the kitchen, and there's a lavatory. You know,
Okay.
but that's kind of it.
I would check the kitchen.
Kitchen, great.
Or we were in the kitchen.
You were in the
Did
kitchen.
I see an egress when we were there? Do I
Just
remember
being
it?
a Teamster, you know that there is probably like an uncomfortable solution of like ventilation where you could like pop a hatch and maybe wriggle up through like the like air situation. It doesn't strike you as like the best solution, but there's room to wriggle if you wanted to stick yourself in that kind of a situation.
Like the fume hood over the
yeah, essentially.
the cooktop or whatever.
Right. Crawl your way to the scrubbers and figure it out from there.
I would like a better solution, so I'm gonna check a different room.
Awesome. Yeah, instead of like making you guess, I would say that the lavatories seems like you're a Teamster. You head to the lavatories and it seems like there are maintenance hatches to
Well, if it's like a composting toilet, too,
exactly.
you know.
Right.
That sounds worse than the vent in the kitchen.
Okay, yeah. So yeah,
I'll take the vent in the kitchen
awesome. Okay,
over
great.
the compost toilet.
Yeah. You're going to wriggle out through the vents. I love that. So critical success on the guard thinking he's going to catch you off guard, whips around, tries to grab you, and thrusts with the stun baton with abandon. And you feel the air crackle as you deftly dodge out of the way. You get to do whatever you want in this moment. It's nat 20 energy. What are you feeling?
I'm taking that baton. I'm turning it on him.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, you describe how you wipe this dude out.
Yeah. So it's something that Hurley wouldn't even expect himself to be able to do. But he's just so on edge. And so it's fight or flight. And instead of flight, it's fight. And so he goes in to shock me, and I grab it and instead take it like this, and so like on his elbow with my other arm, and
Yeah.
take the baton and then
Ooh.
up into the neck for full on shock.
He judders, shudders, and falls completely out, full taser to the neck as he drops to the ground. His mask falls away, and his jaw, as he twitches on the ground in the briefest of seconds as you do this cool kung fu switcheroo and wipe him out, is
Back to
wrong.
the jaw.
Yeah.
Back to the jaw.
Yeah. Let's keep talking about how cool the move was. Is wrong. His jaw is anatomically incorrect. It's too angular. The chin terminates too finely.
It's the
And the way
crimson
the
chin.
teeth exude up from the mouth, it's as like he has a mouthful of molars with like long incisors. And like the helmet piece that he's wearing covers the rest of his face, but just seeing this jaw and the tongue that hangs out from it, incorrect. Taut pink flesh. This is not what a normal human jaw looks like.
Yeah, so that's going to be a little bit of a moment of I'm taking the shocker and I'm shocking some more. This guy needs to stay down.
Great.
Just panic, like stabbing.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to turn to the others and say, "Did you see that shit?"
So you jam the prod into this downed assailant and give it another jolt, effectively killing this guy. So that distinct smell of cooking person that's not too far off from cooked bacon as hair and flesh sizzles and pops within this crudely constructed beige armor. And you turn to the terrified denizens of the mess hall, all of whom watch you as you say, "Did you see that shit?" They scream and start running to the bunkhouse area. Basically, they just
That's fair.
everybody this parts in the middle of this chaos. Gemma, are you en route to the kitchen as all of this is happening?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think I was probably already in the kitchen. I'm super fast. That's something you should know about me.
Yeah.
I'm like
Amazing.
50% fast.
Oh wow.
So I was already in the kitchen and I'm trying to climb out of the vent.
Oh great. I guess I'm giving you the opportunity to like not even have to deal with the vent now that you see your guys next to the front
Oh,
door.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear the tasing.
Yeah.
And then he talks, and so then I'm like, oh shit, I guess Hurley figured it out. Cool, good for him.
Critical
Honestly,
success.
happy for him.
You
Oh,
also
he killed someone? Still happy for him.
Amazing.
I'd like to steal its armor, of course.
Okay, great.
What?
Fear save? Or no, okay, actually, I'm gonna tell you what you see, and then you choose fear or
Oh
sanity
no.
in this case.
Oh,
You start
Okay.
reasonably with the boots, right? Because these sandals aren't going to cut it. And as
He's
you
covered
pull
in
them
teeth,
off,
isn't he?
they flump off awkwardly, and the unusual gait.
Andrew here from the future. Unfortunately, we have a little bit of technical error for the next 27 minutes or so where DJ magically disappeared from the recording. Unfortunately, that's the case, but we will do some little explainers for those moments where awkward silence arrives and DJ would have otherwise been speaking. Please enjoy the rest of the episode. The audio will correct itself, video, all that stuff after that brief period. So if you want to skip ahead, you might miss some stuff. But unfortunately, the recording disappeared on us.
Yeah, the boot comes off, and it's an approximation of a cloven hoof. It's halfway there, humanoid digits fused rudely at knuckles that terminate in yellowing, jaundiced nails that are thick and cartilaginous. It's clear now. You see that was it you or was it the android that clocked that they were walking funny? It was Tommy. Yeah.
R.I.P. Tommy.
R.I.P. Tommy. But yeah, you pull it off and you see hoof joints that seem a little incorrect on the lawn. In the midst of all of the fracas, Locke, my eggy boy, you are under the impression that with your guns out, buns out, that things might get worse if you just hang out there. But in your rotating, you see a familiar face as across the way. So kind of like there's the great lawn in one direction, bunkhouse, warm glow, easy to see. In the far distance, that playgroundy looking area, the former tillery. Behind you, the depot, and to the right, the church. And in between those two, you see surreptitiously some robed figures dragging a familiar form across the lawn and into the church. and not just him, but a couple of others as well. And you're like, oh, there's that guy, as you make your decision now. So again, in the next 10 seconds, things will get really bad for you if you just stay put.
Yeah. Two things ideally simultaneously. Activate program Beeline, and also I'm just gonna start rolling in the direction of Tommy. But you see like the little revolver arm kind of like extends out and like turns in the direction. So like it's kind of like the spoke, or not a spoke, like the axis on the egg wheel. So it's just kind of bobbing as I'm rolling with a revolver
Omnidirectional.
out. Yeah, exactly.
You become this revolver gimbal.
Exactly. I'm just, well, it's more bobbing because egg, not orb. And so just kind of as I'm
Tears of the
heading
Kingdom
towards-
energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Heading straight over to Tommy and those cultists with my revolver out. Activating Beeline
Amazing.
protocol.
Yeah, and Beeline protocol in your mind, is this thing running? Is it just what?
It's basically
Awesome.
all systems egg.
All systems egg. That's the episode title. This is amazing. So you flibbity flop weeble wobble over again. I'm gonna have you make another body save
Yeah, that's fair.
as you head over to them, and that's what's happening this turn.
All right. Save body. All right.
Another shot rings out.
Failure. 70.
70. Awesome. Awesome's the wrong reaction for that. Let's just see here. I'm
Awesome.
rolling.
Radical, dude. Your body's gonna get so messed up.
Because you're you. I haven't been asking this. What is in your loadout? Did you come with armor?
And I didn't. No, I don't see that. It just says add armor, but I have a vac suit, 3 AP3. Don't know if that.
Yeah, let's just say that your normal ceramic case is like
Yeah.
AP3. So you have
Yeah.
armor of 3 points. And in Mothership, armor works until that threshold is passed. I'll say that like
like
the
a damage
normal-
reduction kind of thing.
Right. Once it's passed, the armor becomes useless. So,
Gotcha.
in your case, specifically by being shot by a rifle at medium range, which did 7, 9, and 2, that's 18 damage. Reduced by 3, you take 15 damage as
That's-
blap, the next one nails you.
So that
You
brings
drop
me
down
to
to
0.
zero?
Yeah, negative
Okay.
1 effectively.
Great.
So
Let's go ahead and roll on the wounds table for you, my eggy boy.
Okay. So gunshot.
Gunshot.
This is so cool.
I love it.
Okay, wait. So this is I rolled an 8, I guess.
Oof.
Sucking chest
Oh.
wound, bleeding +5, death save in 1d10 rounds.
Go ahead and roll a d10 using the dice interface.
3.
3. So in 30 seconds, you
Yep.
are going to. Fortunately, we are in a full urgency scenario, so there might be
Mhm.
hope for you. You roll, and then the egg gets cracked as just a hot, white bolt of lead punches through you and knocks a chunk right out of your center as bam, you slam face module down
dispenser
into
goes
the moist
lying.
crest. And notably behind you, the exoloader keeps across the lawn, undeterred. We'll come to him later. But you belly flop as a really essential component blasts out of you, and whatever lubricating fluids that keep you running shipshape, coolants start to spray from you and pool out under the lawn. Because you are you, it is different, right? You don't feel pain unless you think you feel pain. I haven't even asked. Do locks feel
No.
pain?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just mechanically, so I would drop to 0, which gives me a wound. Yes.
Right. So now you're on
And
your
then-
last wound, full HP.
Yeah, but
Now
but
you have no armor
regardless
reduction.
in 3, and then regardless in 3 rounds, no matter what, drop to 0 and die.
Unless you intervene for yourself or
Correct. Okay.
your friends intervene for you.
Got it.
Because you're bleeding out.
Yep, I got that. Cool.
Right. You have your little coolant hose done got
Yep.
snipped. And it's
Yeah, definitely.
so you feel the temperature rise and a little
Mhm.
readout appears in whatever your synthetic consciousness is of warning.
Yep.
30 seconds until overheat protocol. So
All right.
unpleasant for you as you belly floppeth. You two hear the gunshot again. I think it's another fear save as things
Yep.
get worse outside, and you see Egg Boy go down.
That's going to be a critical failure.
Amazing.
Just a regular failure for me.
All right, Sylviana, you gain a point of stress automatically.
Yes,
But Deej, I think it's time for your first panic check. Does that sound right? Mm-hmm.
You also just
And now-
did something pretty crazy too, right? Like you just killed someone.
Right. Yeah.
It is just a normal success.
You keep it together. Remind me what your trauma response is.
Whenever I fail a sanity save, all close friendly players gain 1 stress.
Great. Yeah, you keep it together. You look at each other. You now know, you see, as Eggbot gets omeletted out there, that you have a limited amount of time to either intervene or do something. You also see on your periphery, within these 10 seconds, the first thundering steps of this rusty yellow golem of an exo-loader start to full Heisman onto the field here. On your periphery, and that's where time freezes as we decide what to do next.
In this moment, all I can think about is Melissa. And like, where is she? Is she safe? How can I get to her? Like, and as much as I would like to care about your egg bot, I just don't. I care
Totally
about
fair.
my dog.
Gemma, you look at the egg, you see the chaos that's unfolding as you hear the shrieks of the initiates behind you, and then a glint in the artificial lighting that illuminates this field. Sort of, yeah, actually, stadium still applies here, just those rude work lights that are pinioned up on poles and sort of give a general view of the great lawn. You see the glint of a scope from atop the ops tower through the window that you are looking through, and you clock that in your concern.
Like, I think there's a sniper on top.
You
the ops
spot
tower?
that the shots are probably coming from ops.
Okay. I will say that to Hurley, who I assume is next to me.
Yeah.
And I sort of point like sniper, and I point to where it is. There's only one sniper. Can we incite all of the people in here with us to run out at the same time?
Maybe if we make everyone believe that there's a fire.
Yell fire. I'm gonna yell fire. As if there's a fire in here and people have to get out. Because the alarm's already going.
No check necessary. This works. People believe it immediately as they already screaming from the slain guard, which I don't think they associate you with. On top of that, yeah, see you screaming, and yeah, so they start pouring out into this common area here and donning their air circulators. Yes, you've built a nice diversion. What do you want to do with it?
Well, I want to get them to run outside.
Yeah, you start ushering people. Everybody masks up. You start heading out the
Yeah.
door.
And
Go,
then we
go,
also
go.
run out the door with them. Because one sniper can't take us out if there are dozens of people, or at least a dozen people running out. That's my thought.
I love
That's my
everything
logic.
you're saying, and I think it's genius. Deej, what do you want to add to this margarita of chaos?
If I run full speed to Locke, can I reach him and still have an action?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to run out there and I want to remove Locke's computing module if possible.
Wait, you want to euthanize your buddy? Is that what I'm...
No, put his brain inside the other machine.
That's insane. Let's try it. Okay.
Dude, I was
What's the
already
worst that can happen?
thinking, can I launch something like a la R2D2 lightsaber to Luke? I was like, I was already going in that direction.
This
Literally, the worst that can happen is you both die.
Yeah, that's all.
So why not do it?
is incredible. Chaos erupts as you break all of the rules except for rule number 3, which wasn't a rule so much as a general statement that first teacher knows best, as the dozens of initiates run screaming onto the lawn, you in your midst, Gemma, and you are making a beeline to what?
Where do I think Melissa is?
The ops tower.
I go to the ops tower.
All right, I'll get a speed check from you, Melissa. I mean, mother of Melissa, Mom Melissa, and
If I
yeah,
run full speed
it
to
will take.
Locke,
I
I
would
succeeded
I
by 1.
reach him?
incredible.
And
I
still
rolled
have
a
an action?
49 and my speed is 50.
You weave through the cultists as they run screaming into the night. A shot rings out, and a person next to you just goes down, their shoulder vaporizing into an awful pink mist as you, undeterred, sprint towards the tower. And inside, you've got that full Kate Bush, like, I'm running up that hill. Yeah, that's happening, and it's a really fantastic sequence. Ambivalent towards these cultists, plowing through them is this exoloader as it across the lawn. You hear the as the sniper takes a wild unaimed shot, just bang, it goes off of, it hits this exo and does nothing because that's what it's for. Doctor, you are sprinting towards your boy. That's what you want to do, and you want to have like a bro surgery moment? Is that where the two of you...
Exactly.
Okay.
Like whatever my like brain, my like little AI core, I would
Yeah.
like I would see hopefully the approach and just kind of like unfurl my like ceramic plates around that like protected
Like a
point and
glistening
just-
pearl.
Yeah, and just kind of like expose that little pearl in the direction of my coming Xavier, hopefully.
Because of Sylviana's awesome plan and successful speed check, I don't think it's a check for you to sprint across the lawn to Egg Boy. You see this pearl extrude from your downed, cumbersome android assistant. What do you want to do?
Right. So you know that scene in Flubber starring Robin Williams, around the end where Weibo kind of like sacrifices her life and Robin Williams has to like take the brain of Weibo and, creates a new robot? That's essentially what I want to do, but I want Locke to be the same.
That scene hits you right in the feels in an otherwise, like, okay movie.
Hey, the movie still holds up. Amber and I recently watched it, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Wasn't there like a meta plot where Weeble also like loved the Doctor?
Oh yeah, she was absolutely obsessed with the Doctor. But anyway, so I run up there, the module's there. I go to grab it, and then I grab Locke's face, and
Wrong face.
I grab the other face, and I go, "It's all right, buddy. I got you." And I rip the PC module out.
Snap! Locke's body dies.
Okay, and now I'm gonna look around, see if I can find any sort of weapon.
There's a revolver right there.
I grab the revolver, and then I look around to find the loader, and I want to run to it.
No need to run. The exo meets you at the downed egg. It just crushes one of these young, well-meaning initiates flat. Sends another one flying.
All right, I run up and plug it in.
All systems egg.
All systems egg. And it powers down right in front of you. Let's do, with this incredible scene, with advantage, whatever kind of check you'd like to make.
All right, I'm going to do an intellect with plus 10 for jury rigging at advantage, and that's a success.
Amazing.
Hell yeah.
All right, now I just want to hop into new Locke and say, let's go, buddy.
It's nuts on the lawn of the sweetening fields as these cultists run to other buildings. At the distant church, you see somebody poke their head out, elephant trunk swaying as they try to take in what happens because suddenly this exoloader rights itself of its own accord and the running lights on the forks light up as suddenly, Locke, you feel alive. Your lock's been popped. You're pop-locking. You're pop-locked into this exo-loader, and systems are nominal. It's inefficient. It's inelegant. You don't feel like you have more than 24 hours in this thing, but baby, it's alive. As the scientist just jams it into the receptacle interface, and through science fiction magic, keeps you alive. You are now an exoloader.
I'm locked in. What next?
Do you say that every time?
It's so amazing. I almost want to look up like Exoloader to see what the deal is with that thing, if I can throw you any fun. I don't even know. It's like a vehicle. Yeah, I mean, it's got like bananas armor. You deal a wound per strike with this thing. Like, it just rocks. You can
Cool.
call something a bitch, and if you guys want to Pacific Rim this, be my guest.
Yeah.
Be my
Yes.
guest. As I just like unfurl the dock, like the rig for you to hop in.
Incredible. Sylviana, Gemma makes it
Yeah.
to the ops tower, and there, on the observation deck, very much like a lighthouse, it has like the outer catwalk on the inside of rudimentary flight control area. You see a dress fluttering in the wind as a feminine figure sets down a rifle and pushes away from the railing, seeing the approach on the lawn, and that figure disappears into the ops tower. You turn to see your scientist pal loading himself into the exoloader as two become delicious one. Is that really why we do this podcast? Did you two always try and Mecha Shiva?
Voltron.
Does this happen in every episode?
Yeah.
They just want to be closer.
It must have been weird for the one where you played Good Society.
Oh my gosh.
That's our show. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Sylviana, Gemma sees all of
Yeah.
this chaos happening, and as it unfolds, you hear a horrifying sound echo across the waving fields of barley and grain. But this otherworldly guttural bellow echoes out across the night air, and you have arrived at the ops tower. You see the guards hurriedly dragging a couple of bodies, Tommy's included, into the church, and then they slam the doors shut behind them as cultists still just running all over the Great Lawn.
I don't care about Tommy. I run into the tower because I think I saw Melissa on top of the tower. I think she was the sniper.
Awesome. Yeah,
Right?
that feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. I run in.
Yep. You run into the tower, and out on the lawn, Doc, as you strap in your own elephant dongle a-waggling in the wind, you feel the firm embrace of your friend as his cage closes over your decently fit chest. We talked about this. I don't know why this is slowly turning into a fanfic, but
It
you
really is.
yeah, the tender embrace of his cargo webbing.
What?
Oh no.
You
Somebody
stand
call Chuck Tingle.
erect in this awesome suit of industrial armor. Just as the sound hits your ears from across the field, and everybody that's screaming and running around in the fracas freezes and looks to the east where the sound came from, including you. Fear save from you, and a fear save from the robot, which
Can we like cause a distraction? Maybe get everyone in here out there?
97. I'll give you a
97.
guess what that is.
That is a 23, which is a success. It is a close success. I would have had to have rolled a 29 or below. So,
And, I might as well ask the android to roll a fear save. How did that go for our former egg?
Oh,
Egg in a basket.
it's not good. It's a 97.
You critically failed a fear save.
I did, and there's
Yeah.
a little thing we're gonna have to deal with there. There's a trauma response. Fear saves made by close friends or friendly players are at disadvantage.
I love Mothership. DJ, I love that you succeeded. You're going to have to roll again.
oh no. Oh boy. Okay. All right. There's a good chance that we're just going to end up running in the opposite direction.
Oh no!
Let's find out. It's a failure. Yeah, I failed.
Oh
Incredible.
man!
Okay, yeah. So we have a critical failure. Yeah, I love that. It is unlikely, Locke, that the word terror would describe your reaction, and yet it does, as your programming pulls up the only thing that it has in its recent history, which is suddenly inside that building once again as the glow of the light plays over the faces and the squeals and the grunts are overwhelming. And you, matching frequencies, put two and two together and decide the best course of action is to get away from wherever you are. Doctor, against your will, you feel the exoloader power up and start to charge in the opposite direction of where the sound is coming from. You, which in our case is back towards the depot as you plow once again into the shadows of the hangar. And both of you start to wig out just a little bit. Let's go ahead and do another panic check for you, my android friend.
It's fun because it's Andrew the android.
It is
okay.
fun.
Also,
We've
man,
got fun on
Bicentennial
lock.
Man, you know?
It's also
I
heartbreaking
only
movie.
remember that movie being about how he basically just really wanted to have human sex over centuries, and then he eventually gets to it, and they're like, "This is great," and that's the end.
Oh man, that was a big part of my childhood, and I guess I didn't really think about that.
That was the first time I
it
saw a
was-
movie like that, and I was like, "Whoa!"
He
just
wanted
really...
to be recognized as human.
right.
And so right before he didn't even, the worst part is he didn't even get to hear the words that they recognized him as human. He died seconds before. Horrible. Who does that? Oh, boy.
A 1, adrenaline rush. If you're gonna fail a panic check, this is the best way to fail it. Go ahead and read that out.
On all rolls for the next D10 minutes, reduce stress by 1d5. So I'm assuming I'm rolling essentially 2d10 and having one of them. Oh, wait, 2d10 for the minutes and then 1d5, which is half d10.
And I think in the app, if you want to, you can roll a
Oh,
d5.
nice. That's convenient. Yes, there is one. Okay, so let's start with the 2d10. 17 minutes.
Okay, so effectively for quite a long time, you are feeling immensely capable of just simply running from harm as you take you and your internal hostage in the opposite direction of whatever the hideous roaring was in the
I
field.
hope you find Melissa.
You open the door,
Thank you.
which slides open easily, and you come into the initiation area, which also has like a little dinette set in there. Sylviana, Jimma busts into that room, and coming down the stairs in the corner, you see your daughter, Melissa, who freezes on the stairs.
How long has it been since I've seen her?
How long has it been since you've seen her? Tennis.
I think it's probably been like a full decade.
Do you think she recognizes you?
I think she definitely recognizes me because I'm 49 years old and I looked kind of similar when I was 39 years old.
It's exactly this fact that keeps her from pulling the trigger on the combat shotgun she's holding that she has leveled at you. She freezes and says, "Mom?"
Hey, sweetie. I'm here to get you out.
Thundering down the stairs behind her is everybody's favorite first teacher, who says, "What the holy hell? Oh, hey there!" And bumping into the back of Melissa is the first teacher, Jared, who has appeared. The more I think about him, the more he starts to look like Jeff Goldblum in my mind, but that's neither here nor there. Bumping into Melissa and says, "Oh, what do we got going on here?" And then leaning over says, "Shoot her." She looks at him, looks at you, and she goes, "What are you doing here?"
I'm here to rescue you.
"Rescue me?"
We have to leave.
Rescue?
It's not safe here.
It's perfectly safe here. It's perfectly safe here, sugar beet.
There are people screaming and dying outside. It's not safe here.
The bellowing from the field in the distance grows louder as some sort of awful thing starts happening on the Great Lawn, and she
Yeah,
looks...
you hear that?
This is not what this is intended for, but in Mothership, there's a loyalty roll that you can do. And it's normally for like contractors to see if they're going to go along with insane decisions. So if you're like, "Yeah, let's go into the room that's made out of teeth," In the same way, you can just check to see if somebody in your crew is going to stick to their gun. Let's have that just be her check. So Melissa's loyalty, she's brainwashed. It's like a 24. So if you want to roll on her behalf, go ahead
Yes,
and
I do.
let's bump that up because mom factor. Roll it either. Yeah, let's roll it with advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one was an 80, so that's not, but I'm gonna roll that advantage.
Yeah.
39, which is still a failure.
It is still a failure. She looks from you to the first teacher, cocks the shotgun, and aims at you. She's going to pull the trigger. What would you like to do?
Duck?
Great. Go ahead and body save for me.
Speed? Oh, body save. Okay.
Yeah. Speed check's good. Speed first. Let's play it out.
That's
Let's
better
give
for
you
me.
the you're
She's all
you're a
about that
speedy son of
speed.
a.
21. That's a success.
You dive beneath the tea set table just as a chunk of it gets blown off ahead of you, and the first teacher says, "Very good, Daffodil. Let's go on and get out of here. I'm cogent. I'm with it. I'm not high. I've also changed accent." And so he yes, but he grabs her and yanks her down the stairs and runs past you, pulling her into the room. You are in the rooms that you entered this whole thing to begin with now, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So he is taking her towards the drone field as he speeds past you, but you've successfully dived out of the way of all of this madness. Out in the field, Doctor, you turn over your newfound mechanical shoulder to see a huge shape burst out of the crop line, just magnificent, the size of a bull, of 2 bulls, something moving quadrupedally, except that there's more than 4 legs. It's hard to suss what's going on, and they're moving with articulation that just doesn't really check out, in your scientific opinion, as this thing enters into the field shadowy and ominous, and the few unfortunate cultists that are left and in its path are just sort of subsumed within itself as something chomps down and another thing grabs and sucks within itself. Real Mononoke energy if we're touching on it here. Yeah. Is happening behind you as you disappear into the dark of the depot.
All right. Is there a ship nearby?
There are 2 ships nearby. There is a defunct transport ship turned into a bunkhouse, and there is a train, supply train, that you are standing quite near. That's not a ship, but, you know, it probably goes somewhere, right?
Let's go to... Ooh. How fast are you, bud?
Me?
The disadvantage on fear saves no longer applies in your new body, although I will keep you at just the 1 wound for
Yeah, it's
yourself.
totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very unstable architecture that I reside within.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go
I
for
keep
the
thinking
bunkhouse.
DJ's not frozen, and
I know,
he's
he's
really
just
intently thinking.
pensive. Yeah.
I'm just...
Yeah.
Oh no! Are my hands up together? and
No,
I'm just-
no, you're just like,
You're like this.
That's great.
You know, if you go for the train, we can do both Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away.
All right, let's do it. Let's get in the train.
Because they get on the train, they don't even know where it goes.
It's exactly. And the train's got to be faster.
It's got to be more functional.
Great.
So yeah, let's do it.
Training day. You hop on to the train itself. It looks like it needs some kind of love in order to like get started. This thing hasn't been used. It's kind of like the exoloader. It's not just a one and done. So it would take some kind of check from Doctor, I suppose. You, is that what you're into?
Yeah. That's what I'm into. I mean, that's what my jury rig is for. And of course, I have a friend here who's pretty good at jury rigging and mechanical stuff as well.
is there
Yeah,
an
yeah.
effective help action or anything like that?
I mean, let's say through the tinny loudspeaker that's normally like, reminder, fasten seatbelts on the exo loader, you are able to give any sort of like coaching that would be required. Would be like,
Okay.
connect the blue one. So again,
Does
he
that
could
provide
just,
advantage?
yeah, advantage, I would say, is,
Okay.
yeah.
So this
So
is gonna-
jury rig with advantage, intellect. You're smart.
Intellect, jury rig, advantage. No way this can go wrong with a 65 and a failure. I
Mothership.
just needed to get below a 57.
That's so close. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you failed?
I failed
By
Incredible.
like 4?
by 4.
Are you in the exo loader or did you hop out?
I'm in the exo loader.
Just
But I
your little
guess-
arms reaching out of it while like the big hulking ones are on the side of you.
I love that. Yeah, as you just mess with the train, you feel the ground shift underneath you as it starts and suddenly comes to life because you still got it. You take the last piece of gum that you've been chewing on quite surreptitiously for
Oh
hours.
no, it's the cigarette.
He's
It's
chewing
the
on the cigarette.
cigarette.
I take
Horrifying.
the cigarette and I take the shock baton because, you know, plasma. I light it up.
Awesome. Yeah.
Motherfucker.
And it begins its activation protocol as whatever is needed to start this thing just kicks into action and chunk. And quite without warning and throwing you kind of prone on your back in the exo as it leaps forward, it smashes through the barriers and blocks that were holding the train car in place as it busts out of the train depot, licking the entrance to the entire thing and plunging into the overgrown tracks that skirt the side of the field. And in front of you, a huge shape jumps in front of the train and slams into it from the side as the whole thing rocks and flips over. And a cacophony of just flips and rolls and a tangle of metal. Both of you can body save with advantage because it's just insane. You're in an exo loader, so of all the situations to be in, might be the most badass.
It hurt. It wasn't a bad hurt, but it hurt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sylviana, this ruckus outside is not distracting you as a failure, like a bad one or a regular one.
Like an
Regular.
80.
80. Okay, yeah. I tend not to weigh things on like amount unless it's like really really narratively significant, or if it's
Yeah.
doubles then it's bad. Like 90
Yeah,
and up
for sure.
is yeah. Awesome. So just regular failures on body saves. Each of you take 9 damage.
Out.
Yeah, wham, bam, it's not pleasant
So good.
as you struggle to extract yourself from Twisted Train, and you find that on that failure, there's not just one of these things, as the screeching and squealing is not just coming from you, but also from a large, squealing, scrabbling creature that tries to extract itself, grievously wounded by this vehicle it didn't expect
my
to slam
gosh.
into. You ever been in a really big truck at night on a ranch when a boar runs across the road? I was like,
No.
boars
No.
aren't scary. I have a cousin who owns not a cousin. My brother-in-law is like an honest to God cowboy and owns a ranch down in Texas. And he was talking about how like scary boars are, and I was like, I mean, yeah, if you're like alone in a field and they're big. But I didn't really understand what he was talking about until I was in a Texas-sized pickup truck, just a Ford F1 FU. And as I'm in it, a thing the size of like 1.5 refrigerators sprinted across the headlights, and I was like, oh my god, this thing's incredible. It's huge. I had no idea this is what I thought we were talking about like a slightly big dog-sized thing. No, this mad shape of piggishness rides and squirms, and Gemma, you have nothing to do with any of this as the cacophony sounds outside. You see the first teacher scoop up your daughter and drag her into the next room as you have successfully evaded the first shotgun blast. What do you want to do?
No, I have to go after her.
Yeah, great. You.
Is he dragging her? Has he dragged her outside?
he's dragged her towards the drone. So in the opposite direction of like basically across from the door that you came in, which I imagine is just still hanging
Okay.
open. Past that, in the opposite direction, is the door to the area where you were stripped and shorn. And beyond that is the
Okay.
drone field. So, yeah,
I follow them.
Awesome.
And I think I like try to throw my body on top of her and yell to Jared, like, you won't take her. I know what's out there. You
amazing.
won't take her out there.
She is not expecting this because so much is happening all at once. And so she turns around, her hand in Jared's to see you right as you throw your body and make a combat check just to wrestle her to the ground.
Okay.
Incredible. I didn't. I honestly.
89. That's a failure. Fail.
Ooh.
Regular fail.
Yeah. You. It's a regular fail. I was thinking of like all sorts of very, very sad outcomes to this, but none of those seem to apply right now. It's a regular fail. Yeah. You leap for your daughter, and she turns around, looks you dead in the eyes, and goes, "No!" and blasts the shotgun, but just at your feet, spraying chunks of wood flooring at your eyes. You feel the bird shot scattering all over you painfully. But you clock that she didn't shoot you as she goes, "Mom, you have to
Progress.
trust in my decision. You can't just show up after 10 years and expect me to suddenly go with you. I'm in love, Mom."
I'm sorry I didn't know where you were, or I would have come here sooner. And honestly, that's fine. But there's some type of giant monster out there, and I do not want it to eat you.
Uh,
This isn't about your decisions or your love life. We can talk about that later.
Yeah. As you are talking about that, the first teacher pushes your daughter out of the way and hefting one of these javelin thingies just tries to throw it at you. Javelin thing, I say throwing like a javelin, hefts the cattle prod at you, but I'm gonna roll for this guy because he's a cult leader, he is not an athlete. And so he yeets.
He could miss.
He does not. He rolls a 29 on a 32 and throws the cattle prod at you and says, "Stay back, demon of desire, you Delilah, come to tempt away my little piggly wiggly." And
That's so inappropriate. I'm her mother.
you say as you attempt to, I hope, leap out of the way. This is yet another body save as we're just in like this gripped combat. I did not think that this adventure would end in like a
Ooh.
mech fight and like shootout, and here we are.
I rolled a 19.
Ooh.
Hey! You freaking catch the lance as he throws it
Yeah, I
at you. Just
do.
and he goes shit and grabs Melissa and dives out onto the platform where he's holding up this remote control out in the field. And so he pushes out into the drone field and moves away from you. Yeah, so you see the opening of the door here. This is very end of Die Hard as far as like standing on the top of the building, the helicopter's coming in, he's holding her around the waist. In another hand, he is patting his jacket, pulls out what looks like a VHS tape, looks relieved, and sticks it back in his jacket and says, "We got everything we need, sugar lumps. Let's get out of here." And that is where we find ourselves. You are looking through the portal at this narrow escape that might be happening. The two of you stand up to see that there are two large pig monsters, and it's just not great. I'm going to take that again because I looked really tired and bored with what I was saying. You stand at the threshold of this narrow escape that's about to happen, mother-daughter uncertainty hanging by a thread, and meanwhile, the exoloader rights itself, and you see on the wreckage of the tracks in front of you a very wounded, effectively giant boar thing with too many appendages and just an awful, bleeding, oozing wound, and in the lights of your shoulder-mounted frame, you can see that Some of those appendages are merely like human thighs and calves and
Oh,
legs sticking out
no.
of this thing. And that now that you're this close to it and it's trying to right itself, it didn't run, it slithered.
No.
Its belly
Oh,
too corpulent and
no.
massive as it tried to get there. And you stand up to see this in front of you, and then hear from across the field that the other one has also picked up on what is coming on and is moving closer to you too. It's a bad situation, and something within you says idly, "Clever girl."
Yeah.
I think that at this point I would this is not about attrition at this point. We still need to get ourselves in at least if we're going to deal with these, we have to be in a more advantaged situation. And so right now we are not. So my plan would be to like we're in the wreckage of the train area, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would just kind of like Kong our
You're
way
kind
up.
of behind the church to put you in space too. Like you've made it about like 50 yards outside of the depot before the derailment happened. And
Okay.
from that, like another 50 yards to the drone field. So
Okay, yeah. So like I would just try and get ourselves as kind of physically up and away from this as possible. So just kind of like Kong myself up onto the train and then over maybe towards the church or something like that to get up to a higher vantage point, see what's going on in all the chaos and get away from these things.
awesome. Speed check with it. I mean, strength check with advantage because you are a mech suit.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it.
And you can add industrial equipment because mech suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gemma, what are you doing?
So, has the helicopter arrived?
It is parting the clouds above you. You feel like you've got a
Okay.
round or two. Amazing on the success there.
I have one idea. Jared is wearing one of the masks, right?
Yes.
Okay. I make an assumption that he wouldn't drug himself, but he did intend to drug me. I'm going to take off my mask and I'm going to reach with my other hand, reach for his, and I'm going to try to shove my mask onto his face.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah, let's say for this, Melissa's just plain flummoxed as she's not just like, you were a huge curveball, but also like being manhandled by Jared is not something that she's accustomed to in this context at all. And so
Gotcha.
she doesn't like being tossed around. What do you think is the most suitable action for something like this?
I mean, probably combat, right?
Let's do it. Gas it up.
Let me see any skills that can help me.
I mean, there's also an argument for speed. This is kind of like a Indiana Jones idol
It
swap.
is kind of a speed thing. Speed is my best stat.
Let's use speed.
I have industrial equipment. This is not industrial. And field medicine. That's not what this is. We're just
There's
going to do
drugs.
a straight speed. Yeah, but
Call
that's
me
not-
mommy.
Okay. 18.
Hey.
That's a success.
So you slap his elephant trunk out of the way as he looks down at you and moosh I've said moosh like 3 times tonight. Can we just think about that for a while? That's not a thing I say all the time. And here we are as you moosh the elephant mask onto his face and engage the flow of air, and he and suddenly is caught quite off guard by you. How do you want to, you've succeeded. How does this play out?
I tell him we're all getting in that helicopter and we're leaving. And Melissa's going to be safe. And as I say it, I'm like, because I'm now breathing in all of the particles that are in the air.
Oh, great. Yeah, you take another 2 damage just for being exposed for one thing, which, you know, where how is your HP? Is that even worth asking about?
I have 7 health.
Okay, great.
Currently.
Yeah, now you have 5. As you
No, that's with the,
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, you're doing great. Roll a d10.
I'm alive. Yep. 4.
Great. Thank you. It's not a 9. And as you breathe in this totally weird air, you gasp out these things, and Jared, the first teacher, says, "Well, of course, sunshine, we're all one family," and goes back to signaling the drone as it begins to land. The mech exoskeleton stands up. You see this awful thing in front of you. You grab a big piece of train, and as it rights itself, it unhinges a jaw that holds within itself tongues that are sprouting tongues. You pick up a piece of metal and knock it out of the way, field of dreams, out of your path as you clear a pathway, and it flies just a few hundred feet away because you're a mech. This is insane. I really didn't think this would go this way. You've cleared your path with a successful strength check. Doctor, what are you doing on this turn as Locke dishes out some WWE pig smackdown?
I've got a gun in my hand. I'm gonna.
It's a
gun in-
revolver.
I'm just gonna start shooting, and when the thing gets close enough, if they're locked in with each other, I'm going to shock baton. I got them both.
Oh, great. Okay, so yeah, on that successful strength check, you've already batted away the wounded one, and basically now there's just one that's charging you. Is that the one you're going to be shooting at? I'll make that a little clearer for us.
Yeah, definitely. Might as well go for the one that's already
And Andrew, is that more or less along the lines of what you were trying to do as far as advantage? In your
Yeah,
situation
pretty much.
goes?
I was trying to get into more advantageous position or utilize some of the train or something like that. So that's fine. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
that
How about like you bat him out of the way and pull yourself up onto the like wreckage of
Yeah.
the train in a suitable
Yeah.
way? Yeah.
yeah, that way we're not just like on the even playing field with these that could come from any direction.
Awesome. Doctor, go ahead and make a combat check now that you have the high ground with high advantage.
All right, this is my first combat check, so let's
Also,
see
I
how
mean,
this is gonna go.
Mid combat at some point, like you'd hear Locke just over the like crappy loudspeakers of the mech just be like, "I'm not locked in here with me. You're locked in here. Wait. You're not. Hold on. I
Combat
have seemed
check
to have
is,
taken damage."
Combat check is where on the roller?
That's
This
a
is my
great
first
question. Let's
combat.
find out together.
I don't know.
Because there's
Oh, yes.
damage.
There's
Right. You would
weapons.
do.
It should be with stats.
Oh, okay.
Stats.
Oh, here. Yes. Stat.
Oh, I see
combat.
it. Yep. Roll for it, and that is a success.
Awesome. Yeah, and then in Mothership, you can roll for damage with your revolver.
I've
I've got that revolver.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you roll that for me?
Oh yeah, well let's see what the stats are on that really quick.
That's a D10 plus 1.
Nice. Oh, okay, so that's the same. So it's same as my unarmed. No, that's 10
wow.
damage. Go and roll that for me,
Sure.
Andrew.
Yeah, just
That way I don't have to add a revolver into my inventory.
You just
Totally.
roll a D10 and add 1.
Oh, that's true. How do I say dice? D10. Roll. Okay, so that's 2 damage.
yeah.
course.
You
rolled
see
a
this
1.
awful
I
shape
did.
rushing at you across the field, and you pull the trigger,
know.
and bop bop, you shoot it, and it works.
Listen, not
A little bit of
everything
damage.
can be turning the guy's stun baton on him.
Yeah. No, it's great. But no, it squeals in anger as you see the shot is good. What its left eye just bursts like a wet runny egg, and
Gross.
it starts thundering towards you, blinded by rage.
Do we have any eyes on, like, now that we've got this vantage point a little bit, do we have any eyes on what's maybe going on with Gemma? Like, I know that we've kind of been separated for a bit, but like now that we're up here, I'm
Yeah.
assuming we see the drone like coming in, like an escape
Yeah, the
in
doctor
the distance.
specifically would see as he like aims and does the classic side shoot with a revolver.
Blicky blicky.
Blickety black. You pop that pig, and then you look up as the clouds part and see the signature lights of a descending delivery drone, not too far away. as you stand atop the train. I think it's probably tricky for you to sense much of anything within, since you're a forklift. But, yeah.
I've always
Other
dreamed to
than
be a
manually
forklift when
operated.
I grew up.
Not forklift certified, just a forklift.
Just a forklift.
Right. I'll say on that successful combat check, DJ, you successfully like blinded in one eye, but then so it's gonna take like disadvantage on anything that requires seeing good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Locke, we should get to the ship over there.
I have taken significant
just-
damage and could not provide much more aid for much longer. I agree.
Let's get outta here.
Expeditiously.
Retreat.
Amazing. Okay, yeah, because you're working in beautiful unison, kind of like that Kieran Culkin film, Freak the Mighty, where the little guy stands on the big guy's shoulders.
Yeah, that's wow.
How's that
That's
for a
way
deep
back.
cut?
There you go.
Yeah. The two of you working in beautiful unison, the way DJ and Andrew just do.
Every
you,
session.
Can speed check with advantage as we dole these things out like candy, and you sprint towards the drone pad here. Gemma, you successfully
Yeah.
persuaded the cult leader to let you
Success.
hang along for a ride. Amazing.
Yes.
You see over his shoulder through the corrugated fencing the quonky approaching lights of this exo loader as it thunders towards the
And
drone field.
I do not know that that's them.
You don't know. I mean,
I think I have no reason to think that that's them. And so I assume that it's an enemy.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Make a fear save.
Yeah.
You didn't see me pop the loader into the or pop.
Fail.
She was
Regular
busy.
fail.
Regular fail. Yeah, you gain stress as.
Yep.
Yeah, the first teacher looking at the helicopter, then goes. This thing thunders towards, and Melissa is like, it's just nuts all over the place. Yes.
I mean, is that so? We're in the helicopter, right?
The helicopter is landing in front of you now. Boys, you feel like you have like a round before you get there.
Yeah.
And
Is there
it
like
fa-
a loudspeaker on this bad
Yeah,
boy?
that's how I've been
You
talking.
know there is.
Of course. I'd be like, it's us. Wait. There's horrifying creatures out here.
Behind you,
What?
scampering like a cat on a linoleum floor, the other assailant like curves into view as it scrabbles for purchase on the wet lawn and starts gaining behind you as it, too, surges towards the drone field.
So
It's the organic version of Sid's toys.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do something that feels like it would be appropriately in my programming, considering the circumstances and the state of myself. I'm just gonna get, as close as I can. So just push myself as much as I can to get near, and then I'm just gonna kind of like launch my friend here out of myself, and then turning to just kind of like basically alien.
You're just gonna throw him up.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw him up, and then I'm gonna turn around.
You're gonna bishop for the team.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's so great. Doctor, what are you doing?
Yeah. I just go. Lock. Oh. Thank you. And then I'm going to run towards the helipad, gun in hand.
Awesome. Gemma, you see that the drone is landing behind you as the exoloader clamshells out, unceremoniously flumps the scientist onto the lawn. He stands up
Mercy.
awkwardly.
I turn to Jared and I say, "We're taking him with us."
One big family, Buttercup.
We get onto the drone. How big is the drone?
The drone is big enough to accommodate, at least as you saw on the way in, like 20 people, so.
I asked Jared, "Where are the children?"
The children? Oh, certainly, the children. They're in the till house right over yonder.
The Till House? Have I seen that building before?
mission station, the Tillery, where the playground was. It's also like
Oh,
where they keep
yeah.
the children. Yeah.
I tell him to take the drone over there. We're gonna pick up the children.
He
big happy
thinks for a
family.
second, looks at Melissa, who looks at you and is like, yeah, that's a really good idea. And he goes, rightio, presses a button, and the whole thing lurches sideways. Doctor, you feel yourself slam into the far wall as the drone lopsidedly tilts and... Because I'm picturing literally a DJI drone that's just like massive in scale, as in... And starts to tear over this field as the guards, astounded, are standing outside watching this disarray happen. Cultists are screaming and running everywhere, and children, I'm certain, are shrieking their brains out inside of the children's compound. As Locke, you turn and brace for impact. Claws open. What is this? A resist the hit? Is this an initiate combat? What do you want to do?
I want to keep them busy as long as possible. So I'd like
Okay.
to grapple and still be able to maybe, if another there's just one inbound right now, yeah? Just one of these
the other one,
creatures?
as far as you can
Yeah.
tell, you've knackered it. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of like sumo wrestle kind of myself into place, just brace for impact and just attempt to hold on to this thing as much as possible.
This is so impossibly rad. All I've ever wanted is for somebody to pilot an exoloader. I put one in every adventure. No one ever does it.
You said exoloader,
So-
I'm like, we're using that.
Get your hands off of her. So this thing grumbles towards you and make a combat check.
Okay, so I didn't
you can-
catch how we do that one again. Stat.
It's one of your normal stats. So
Okay, so it is? Oh, it's a combat stat. Duh. All
Yeah,
right.
and you can add
industrial equipment.
Yeah.
3.
3. You tell me, this thing slams into you. How do you slam into it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, my open cockpit, if you will, is gonna also clamshell down on the head of this as it lands into me, and I'm just gonna like put my fork arms into either side of the neck and hopefully decapitate it.
Watching from the drone as all of you look agog at the horrors unfolding beneath you, Melissa and the first teacher watching with an uncertainty that's hard to place at the moment. You see what seems to be the abrupt ending of your exoskeleton friend as this shadowy, huge boar centipede-like thing just throws its body through the air. Its cloven hooves lost in the flurry of smaller humanoid appendages that sprout ungainly from its back and scrabble for purchase all over the exo, and its jaw cracks open as another boar skull from within extends out to like chomp on the exo, and there's nothing to bite because you're made out of plasteel, and in return it clamps down, surprising it, and as you grab its tongue and with a clean and industrial OSHA certified safety protocol separate its serpentine tongue from the rest of it using that seatbelt protocol, and then
It's just like the Cybertruck's trunk, you know, taking off people's fingers.
it's been doing
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Litigious. Allegedly.
The wet tongue rollicks inside your chassis where a passenger should be as your forks clamp its neck and twist, and you feel something snap and pop as it flops over on the lawn, and impossibly from the air, looking on, you see this thing roll onto its back, and the exo right itself, beams of light glimmering like pretty awesome industrial safety justice over the wrecked body of this piggy as you touch down in front of the Tillery. The children come streaming out as Melissa runs in to beckon them on to the ship. She also grabs one or two of the cool-looking cultists who have been tending with the children. She's not a monster, and they all jump onto the chopper with you. What happens next?
We leave.
Yeah, we leave. We'll deal with Culty boy
Yeah.
later. We get to safety.
He's compliant right now.
He is.
Your friend made a heroic sacrifice to ensure that we could all make it out, and we will always remember him for that, but we're not going back for him.
Plus, this guy has the evidence on him. All we got to do is get like a hold of the police, the space police. So
Yeah.
we could just pretend for a little
We're
while.
getting out. Also, I'm taking 2 damage every round because I continue to breathe in the air.
That's right. And good for you.
Are you so? Does the helicopter thing close though? Because when we arrived, we didn't have the things on, so the quadricopter seems sealed.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, all the children
but
run out with their like goofy little dongles. Oh, I see what you're saying.
kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
more important to get everybody to leave them on because Jared needs to be breathing in this gas
That's
to stay
true.
compliant.
That's true.
And from a totally real science perspective that I've absolutely thought about, the airlock exchange, pressurization, and environmental swap happens on the interface on the ground, not in the ship
Oh, okay.
itself. So it
Got
needs to like dock in order to do the switcheroo of environments. Yep. We've thought of this. We know about science. It's gosh.
Everything that you've witnessed today was planned.
That's right.
The drone takes off as from the ground, this thing twitches in your grasp, shuddering and broken in your claws. Locke, you pivot as your sensors pick up this drone copter rising off of the ground, the turf blasting in each direction, cultists looking haplessly towards the sky as their leader and all of the children. My progeny, he says from inside the drone copter, holding all of you
God.
close, scientist and teamster included. Family belongs together, and together is forever, till we will transcend unto the stars. And the drone starts to punch up back through the clouds, and you settle, look as from the distance, the shapes of more shadowy figures start to appear on the horizon and creep towards the encampment, signaling perhaps the end of our drone friend. Is there any last thing you'd like to do, Locke, as you see that the night's only just beginning for you?
I think there's a willing powering down at this moment, because I have done my job. I was a Swiss Army egg, and I did what I was needed for in the moment that I was needed, and my job is done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I willingly power my core down at this point,
Incredible.
which is,
You
which is, I mean, equivalent to death, but I don't die. I'm just off.
I love that. You, with a twist of your fork, snap the rest of the way through this porcine gastropod that has assailed you and finish its twitchings. And watching the lumbering shapes inside your mission log marks this one as complete. Job well done. And after a good day's work, you rest. The cultists, hapless, look around, trying to retreat to their different domiciles as these lumbering shapes encroach on the great lawn, and they disappear beneath the cloud bank, Gemma, as you look first to your daughter and then to the cultist, who smiles happily. The first teacher, grouping his children, says, "Oh, my blessed babies, where would I be without you?" You look down to notice that so many of the children now, barefoot in the night, demonstrate awful mutations from the waist down, that some of them have articulated legs with joints going in the wrong directions, toes that are splayed out, and that Melissa taking off her gas mask looking thingy as well demonstrates that her jaw possesses an unusual bent and that her nose is extended a little further than you guessed it would have been as you look into the eyes of your past and now your future. Doctor, I don't know what you're up to, but how did the two of you end this adventure as this drone takes once more to the stars?
Yeah. Um, I just pop a blister pack of gum, pop one in the mouth, and I just turn and face away, putting my hand up on the holy handle, the oh shit handle, and eyes forward, and I'm just like, better be getting paid for this.
How about you, Gemma?
Um, this is my daughter. You know, I don't care if her chin is too long, and her nose. Her nose was already long. Um, and as much as I would love to take the rifle and just kill this man who, clearly did presumably to his children, um, she says that she loves him, and until she's been deprogrammed, I think it would only make things worse if I killed him. So, for the time being, we're in this together.
These thoughts cross your mind as you make one last sanity save as
Yep.
Jared,
Your finger
friggin'
twitches.
Jared,
Fail.
unbuttons his tunic and reveals rows of teats as the children ride forward and begin to lap and sup upon him, little tails bobbing on the backs of some of them. The children finally at home with an even bigger, more exciting family now. New additions all. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. And that concludes our crash
Yes.
landing into the sweetening fields.
Horrifying.
Wow.
I
Well, that was spooky as shit. And I want to thank Cameron for running this and Anwar and Sylviana for joining us. Because of them, I am 100% picking up Mothership to run for my friends and players. If you enjoyed this, make sure you check out the links below to the Panic Table and watch their actual play Unaccompanied Minors. And if you like what we're doing, make sure to join us on all of our socials, join our Discord, and check out our Patreon at oneshotstavern.com.